You are listening to a Dynamicworksproductions podcast. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio Network, and many, many more podcast services around the world. You can find all our content, music, videos, books, podcasts, and more on our website, www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Have questions, comments, or concerns for us? Head on over to the social tab on www.dynamicworksproductions.com if you'd like to talk to us. Now, on with the show. Last time on the Fork in Your Ear podcast, Greg took a COVID test. What was his result? He got COVID. He's had COVID. It's been bad.
Oh God.
We're pulling for you, Greg.
Yeah.
My understanding was he was feeling a little bit better Thursday.
I do appreciate that we shared in that comedic moment of his life, you know.
Hey, that was your doing there, co-host. So, anyways, folks, welcome back to another episode of the Fork in Your Ear. Yep, this show, you know what it is. I don't have to say it. This is the show.
The Fork in Your Ear. That is your host, the author, podcaster, streamer, gamer, Tim K.A. Trotter.
Yeah.
And in the other seat, the sinister co-host
the flags
clone.
fly co-host.
Yes. Let your freak flags fly. We are all ogres.
Oh, I thought it was from my pierogies.
Pierogies? Yeah. Well, it says progress. But we're all ogres. It was from a Shrek production that my child put on.
The Broadway?
So,
the Broadway one?
They didn't quite do a musical, but yeah, they did a just an elementary school parade. Yeah, and she was a rooster.
Fair enough.
A very adorable rooster.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the Fork in Your Ear podcast, and we're going to talk about stuff. We're going to get back to a little bit of non-guest spotting show for the first time in like a while. Nate's got something brown. I have something turquoise.
Turquoise. Ooh.
Yeah, turquoise. Doing a little.
Oh. Are you spicing it up, or is it just straight Baja?
It's straight, because remember, I need to be up.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Booze.
Yeah, welcome to the nightlife.
Booze makes Tim sleepy.
Yes. That's the point of...
You can do a mixed drink that keeps you up, but that's not good for the sleep later.
Right. No, fair enough. I didn't know if you were still doing that, because I remember the last conversation we had, stuff went awry.
Yep.
Cool.
For another 5 weeks.
Hey, I know that feeling.
Yeah, it's already weighing on me heavily. And we've landed on life topics. Fire.
Oh, cool.
So
it's funny when it works out that way.
Sure does.
Last episode we didn't even need the ring because we were spot on with the segues right into the next topic.
There was a lot of stuff happening last episode.
Right?
There's a lot of stuff happening. It was a very, very jam-packed episode, that's for sure.
Somehow it worked.
Yeah. So yeah, why don't you lead us off with your life foibles?
Life foibles.
Or successes? I don't know. whatever's been going on in your life.
Well, night shift is still happening. Things are actually progressing like they're supposed to, which is good because that means there is we're ahead of schedule. We actually have a couple of days in the bank now. So getting out at the May 10th deadline looks very likely. So
you getting out of night shift or whatever trouble your company's in?
Oh, that trouble? Well, that's part of the trouble.
Okay.
Okay. But the supply chain issues that we were having seem to have abated a bit.
Okay.
Parts seem to be moving now, which is part of why everything is kind of going per status quo lately.
Okay.
We don't have a huge reserve, as it were. So things could turn, but right now things are operating at a pretty nice tick. Been basically very busy on my night shift. We've been splitting shifts with doing production work and then doing the engineering work, which is watching the red lights stay red and the green lights stay green. So that's been good. The hard part about this night shift really has been I'm the steady guy on it. I've been swapping out coworkers every 2 weeks. And the quality of a shift does depend on who that extra person is. Because some people adapt to night shift well, some people don't. And when you didn't volunteer, you get voluntold. So their reaction to having to be put on that night shift also does dictate a lot of how enjoyable that shift is. And this last 2 weeks was one of the more difficult coworkers, which ended up turning out to be not that bad, which I'm happy to say, because I was I was just expecting things to be constant bitching and complaining. And while there was a little bit of that, by the end of the first week, everything mellowed out. We found a rhythm, and yeah.
Okay.
And then in between that, we had spring break, which my kids are home from school. Except this spring break, my wife did her once every 2-year trip to Washington, D.C. with her students. So my kids didn't live here for a week.
That must have been nice.
It's nice and it's not, because kids without their parents tend to get a little antsy, especially when one of them can't come over, when the other one's 2 miles away. It's like, can you come over now? Sure. Which by Thursday and Friday, I ended up just coming straight home from work. I'd stop by the house. I'd feed and water the cats, make sure the house didn't burn down, and then I'd go and wake them up over at their house and then sleep on the couch or sleep in their kids' room, which is very nice and dark and
there's
blacked
a piece of
out.
data I'm missing here. So your kids were still in the state?
Yes, my kids had to stay. They didn't go to Washington with my wife.
Where did they go?
So they went to my in-laws.
Oh, okay. I was like,
right, because I wouldn't be here.
Went to DC. Then in my head, kids go to DC, and you're saying one parent, but then you're like, but then I'd go over there, and I'm like, it's a long trip to make.
Yeah,
sir.
No, this was a school trip, so it wasn't like a family vacation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm tracking now. All right.
So, God bless them for taking care of my kids for a week without either one of us. I'm sure that was a handful. I'm still kind of hearing it. Can you take your kids home, please? I'm like, yes, we can. Wife got back into town, and she brought a nasty stomach bug with us that over spring break, everyone over at their house caught a stomach bug and was puking, and basically it was coming out of both ends. And because I was here, I avoided that. And then my wife brought something back. So Monday, Tuesday of this week, she took the day off, and her and I were both. Well, I spent about 24 hours of just I haven't thrown up in a while. and I was real damn close. Like I dry heaved a few times.
Oof.
But yeah, the other end was not so. It did not escape without issues. So,
okay.
Yeah, so it's been fun. Like, but everyone's back. Everyone's home.
I saw in our Skype chat in between podcasts, you had sent pictures and videos of your daughter reading Greg's Absolute Zeros comic.
Yeah, which we found funny was like I ordered it the night of that episode, and it showed up at my front door that morning.
Yeah, I think I woke up and the following day at like 3:30 or whatever p.m. And then I was like, how the fuck did he get it that fast? Like that's fast. Right. That's fast for Amazon.
There's fast and there's real fast.
Yeah. There's like they were listening to the podcast before it went public.
Right.
Off
like,
Microsoft servers.
Quick, prep this order before it happens.
They had it in a messenger bag on bike, just waiting around the corner. Like, can I go? Can I drop it off? Did he get it yet? Is it approved?
I mean, considering I have a device right over here, my let's see if it lights up. Amazon. Yeah, you see that light down there?
No.
Oh, right here in between my mic.
Oh, whoops. I double-clicked Skype, and now I'm in full screen. That's cool.
Gotcha.
That's not what I wanted.
Considering I have that device sitting right there.
There we go. See, because Skype did that thing where it zooms in, and I didn't have you in full video feed.
Gotcha.
Like I normally
let me do it one more time. Amazon.
Now I can totally see it. Yeah.
Right.
Is it a big old sphere?
No, it's the hockey puck.
The hockey puck. Okay.
So
the decent sounding hockey puck or the shitty sounding hockey puck?
The decent sounding one. The first gen. The second gen sucks.
I thought the third gen was the decent sounding one.
Or maybe it's the third. Okay.
I don't know. They come out with new ones every year.
Well, I have one hockey puck. My other hockey puck decided to red ring of death.
Okay.
For lack of a better term.
Okay.
So we replaced it with the now like half orb ones.
Okay.
There's new ones out and those sound amazing because they're basically a speaker, like a legit speaker.
Yeah.
So I have two of those. I have two half orbs, one full orb, and a hockey puck. Hence the different, like not having to call it one Alexa, you know. And because I don't want it lighting up.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I stand in my hallway, I can shout out one of 4 different keywords, and one of them will hear me. And then tell me, I'm having trouble hearing you right now.
I get that one from my kitchen. I have it's like one of the oddball audio only ones that has like a USB port on the bottom. I have it in the downstairs bathroom. And for whatever reason, that fucker will pick up stuff from across the house.
You'll like sneeze and it's going like bling. What can I help you with? No,
meanwhile,
I did not.
The main Alexa show in the kitchen.
Right.
Sorry, didn't get that.
Right.
Shut the fuck up, Alexa. Nobody's talking to you. What the fuck were we saying before my internet shit out? I don't know. Pretty sure we were on Life Stories. And
we were.
I was blaming your internet.
Yes, which it's not my internet this time, even though it is nice and rainy over here.
Yeah,
which means could be my internet, but it's fucking rock solid tonight.
Yeah, Californians and the rain, they run for the hills, including their internet, apparently.
Right.
And ours, we just run through the waterlogged swamp. What are you talking about?
Right. What were we talking? We
were talking about you and nights and
kids on vacation.
And then we were talking about something. I don't remember what it is.
We were on you. I know that much.
I don't think I started talking about me.
Oh, stop that.
What, the yawn?
Yeah.
What? It's not like it's contagious. You're not one of those people, are you?
Oh, I am one of those people.
It's got to be a California. It's got to be a
California
Californian thing because my wife is the same way, and she's like, "Stop that! They're contagious." And I'm like, "No, they're not."
Ow.
As Nate gets clawed by a cat. My life has been very hectic. Work has been extremely busy. As mentioned before, I'm doing a split shift where starting Fridays, I try to stay up later and later and later, going through to night, so then I can wake up on Sunday at like 3, and then stay up all night Sunday into Monday to then go sleep until 3 again, to then wake up and go to work from 7 to 7, basically.
Oh, fun.
And then be dead on Tuesday, and either I sleep for an hour and get back up and do a little bit more work like a crazy person, and then try to stay up until I can't on Tuesday at a reasonable hour and go to sleep so then I can reset for regular early mornings on Wednesday through Friday, and then rinse and repeat for the next 5 weeks.
So is it just you, or is your cohort on the schedule as well?
It's just me because his sleep schedule is already weird as is. So he sleeps from like now till like 6, and that's
so is
like
he's still taking care of the daytime customers while you're on this, or?
Yes and no.
Okay. He's supposed to, but he's not, or?
It's not relevant.
Okay.
What happens Tuesday morning. That's what's happening. If it's something crazy, yes. If not, not.
Okay.
But for all intents and purposes, we're burnt out Tuesday.
Sure.
And then reset for launch on Wednesday and rinse and repeat. And it sucks.
Yeah. No.
And
again,
actually,
having done this night shift for as long as I have, I completely understand. And yeah, just transitioning between that and back.
By the time I get to Monday, like I'm great and I'm up and I'm awake and everything's hunky-dory.
Right.
It's the following morning and or day getting through Tuesday to try to get back to Wednesday that's brutal.
I'm sure the wife has gotten a good chuckle fuck out of all this with, because she's always on nights.
Well, there has been some chuckle fucking for sure because Sundays I'm now with her. And it's like, hey babe, what are we doing? And she's like, I don't fucking know. This is my day off night.
Right.
Go away.
Go away. Shouldn't you be asleep or something? Like, no.
So that's been weird.
Weird good or just weird?
Depends on the week.
Okay.
So far. The first week it was good. The second week it was less good. And tomorrow we have a Easter dinner with the in-laws, which will be our breakfast. So that'll be
right. I always forget about that damn holiday.
Be odd for me. And then after that, I'm told. I was told by my wife today when she was leaving for work, and this is counterintuitive to the previous communications from the past 2 Sundays she's given me, which is like, hey, I'm up, what do you want to do? And we have like Baldur's Gate 3 to play together, and she has declined it every week since I've been on nights. And that's a car horn and somebody talking.
Yeah, that was a car horn. Then you heard the bleed. Sorry, you heard your own bleed over from because I turned and.
Okay.
You caught the pass through from my ears, but yeah, car horn at 10 o'clock at night. Thank you, neighbor.
Yeah, it's lovely. It happens.
Unfortunately, I've been having to open the window up in my office when we podcast because the heater's been on in the house because it's been remarkably chilly. But the office goes up to like 85 degrees if I keep the window closed because 1,000-watt hyper gaming computer here. Just gets warm.
Yeah, you don't have the cool Actually, how many watts is my Mac Mini? I know from chip to chip it raised significantly in the wattage. But I'm pretty sure mine is like 60 watts or something.
I was going to say, what is it, like 54 watts total draw?
Yeah, it's not a lot for the M1.
Right.
It's very, very low. We're chilling at a cool 110 degrees on the chipset right now.
I mean, everything's cool here. It's just, it does blow warm air out the back. So with the heater on.
Speaking of windows and neighbors, this neighbor right at my window from where I'm recording has been...
Dog neighbor?
No, the one on the other side.
Okay.
Has been doing something in his garage that is extremely smoky from like 6 to fucking 9. I don't know whether he's got
AM
a
or
fucking
PM?
bonfire, PM,
Okay.
going on there or whatever, but it blows it right into this fucking window. And it's the one where my AC is hooked up, and it's getting kind of warm lately. And so I'm like, you piece of shit.
I mean, even though the AC unit doesn't pull outside air in unless you set it to vent.
Yeah,
yes, it gets in the components. I understand.
It's a little. I can still smell it. And
and you're not perfectly sealed around the seam.
No, I'm not. I am foil taped.
Yeah. So I get that. Yeah. Foil tape is a wonderful thing.
It's great. It's just not perfect. Mm-hmm. Believe me, I would have duct taped it by now if this wasn't a rental.
Right. Or spray foamed. Or
I have better tape than foil tape. I just know foil tape will come up at the end of the lease.
Spray foam will work too.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways. So, the swapping part is brutal. Getting to the night is a little easier for me since I'm naturally kind of a night owl. But then that hard reset back to Wednesday. And then this Wednesday, we had a job at 4 a.m. And I'm just like, why? And we've been working till like 7:30 and having these early morning days from our Wednesday through Friday here. And it's been a lot. It's been a lot. And then I was booked with things today because I had a play date with my friend to go. We were going to go get brunch, and then we went and saw Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire.
Oh, nice.
And but we did it at brunch time when I'm supposed to be staying up, so I was up till like 3:30, and then I got up at 9, and then took off an hour north to go meet him at this. We ate at this place. Shout out for places to eat that are amazing. Mm-hmm. If anybody's in the Washington area, in Renton at the Landing, there's a place called Trenchers Brew and Pub, and they do weekend brunch from 11 to 2. That
just sounds like a good, hearty, like...
I posted the pictures in the Discord.
Oh, I did not see that.
Nate, take a look. It was a cheat day for me.
Oh, that's where that was. Okay.
It was a cheat day for me. So I indulged in that's a...
poached egg hollandaise something.
That's a cheddar biscuit crab eggs Benedict with crispy potatoes and a creme brulee French toast with fresh berries.
Yeah, you can have your French toast. I hate French toast. And that's a look of, I think I need to change my shorts picture from Tim.
So far, I don't have any wood to knock on around here. So far, the pain has not happened. It will, but
fair.
So far, I was
not the
smart.
kind of change my shorts that I was talking about. It was more like that was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not because it's all poison to me, because it's wheat.
Yes. Wheat.
Yes.
Wheaten. Yes.
Wheat. But honestly,
wheaten. Yeah.
I mean, sure, me having wheat is one thing, but like that egg was so fucking perfectly cooked. And the biscuit and the crab and the potatoes were like perfectly crisp on every fucking side. And I'm just like, yo, this chef back here is fucking
poached is my way to go.
Fucking magic.
If someone asks me how I like my eggs, poached is my number one.
See, I love poached. I am bad at making poached.
Most people are,
like,
which is why I usually get fried eggs from my family, because they don't want to attempt it and then fail miserably at it, and then I just get a watery glob of egg.
Yeah, my go-to on cooking with my foray into cooking with stainless is still scrambled. Just this last month, I finally, not all the time, but about 50% of the time, I was able to finally get my scrambled eggs to not burn on my stainless.
Okay. You're learning the timing finally?
It's a very fucking fine timing for eggs on stainless, let me tell you. So, but yeah.
Man, that's when you got to break out the old-fashioned cast iron. Like,
I mean, I guess I have... So it's funny. So Brock is a cast iron man. I am not. And that's what we had in the Boy Scouts. And I fucking hate cast iron.
Yes. Oh, okay. Oh.
I fucking hate cast iron. I understand. I really do.
As has been said many times on the show, you're allowed to be wrong.
You know, hey, I graduated from nonstick to stainless. You know, we're taking steps. It's okay.
Right.
You know, and I'm learning that, you know, yes, you probably should have the proper type of pan for X, Y, and Z type of cook.
Correct. Yeah.
I can concur with that. I just have always hated cast iron.
And again, I understand why. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing it.
When you're out in the woods and you're trying to clean it, it's no fun. It's no fun at all. And then of course you quickie it and throw soap in, and then the next person who I know this is Boy Scouts. I was young, Nate. It's okay. It's how we learn.
I was gonna say, living in a Jewish household, the first time I scrubbed and cleaned the cast iron and was chastised by about 17 different people in our family, all the women. I was like, what? I was just trying to be helpful. They said, don't ever touch the cast iron. I'm like, but it had things on it still. And they're like, yeah, that's called seasoning. And I'm like, no, there were bits of bacon and fat and stuff. And they're like, yes.
It goes against stuff. I know.
I'm like, so how do you clean it? They go, you take a paper towel and you wipe it off and you put the thing away. And I went, ew. They said, go away.
Yeah. So anyway, I am not a fan of cast iron. Maybe one day I'll get there.
I hope you do, because it is the superior cooking surface if you know how to do it.
I don't think it's superior for everything, though.
I think you're wrong. That's fine.
So far in my foray into more fancier cooking, I do believe you should have a good copper nonstick skillet for eggs and delicate things.
And vegetables, yeah. Or like doing a quick sear saute. Sure.
I think stainless is really good for a lot of things. I have not mastered a steak in the stainless. I prefer grill for my steaks and my burgers.
Cast iron.
Not my grill.
Your grates aren't cast iron?
No. They are ceramic, sir. And you have to season them and take care of them. It's a whole different thing with those type of grates.
Okay. Not so great.
Yeah.
That's the second dad joke.
Yeah, I hate it. You got all so excited when I I posted a dad joke in the fucking chat, and that was really just, I wrote, hurry the fuck up. And then it gave up a AI prompt and was like, hey, would you like to rewrite this in such and so style? And I chose witty. And that's what it came up with. Fucking guy. So
it wasn't even you. That was an AI dad joke.
Yeah. Translating, hurry the fuck up, Nate.
So disappointed.
Well, I'm not a dad yet. They don't come naturally to me as of yet. I'm sure they will one day.
Okay.
I'm sure they will one day. There's some dad joke that my friend Jay cracked this morning. I can't remember what it was.
Well, why even bring it up then?
Because he's a dad and makes dad jokes. I don't know. Things, stuff.
You can't bring up. My friend told a dad joke, and I don't know what it is.
I don't log dad jokes.
You should.
I'm not logging them for posterity, you know?
You should.
Well, I didn't. And I'm not gonna. And you can't make me. So, anyway, it was a fun time. That spot was really good food. Neither of us had been there, so it was just like a gamble because it happened to be close to the movie theater, and it served brunch at the time we needed.
Nice. Sometimes finding a place by accident is the best like find.
Yeah. No, it was definitely an unsuspecting place for brunch, given that it's very pub like.
We have a place out here, and because I don't have to worry about it doxing me, in Old Town Santa Clarita called Eggs and Things.
Oh, that's a dope name for a restaurant. Yeah.
And like
great.
You walk up to the restaurant and it's like the original building, and then somehow they expanded or bought the salon next to it and then knocked the door into it. So it's like you're going upstairs into the restaurant, downstairs into this dining area, then you got to go around a corner and up another set of stairs to get to the bathroom.
Lots of restaurants that are like that. Yeah.
It's one of those. And yeah, Eggs and Things. And that's one of the places where it's like, I know I'm going to get a good poached egg here.
For sure. Yeah. So did that, and then ran to the theater, watched the movie, and then immediately had to dip because I had to run the car back to the wife so she could get to work. So it's a very scrambling type of day, despite the fact that it was pretty fun. So yeah, so that's what's been going on in my life.
And I remember what we were talking about before we got cut off. We were talking about devices listening and books showing up, and Greg getting.
Right.
Did Greg actually ever get those pictures?
I believe I ultimately copied them out of Skype and texted him directly because I knew he was in bed dying of COVID.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I don't like. I went and found his Twitter, and I'm like, oh, the last time he posted was in 2022. I don't know that he's following this.
Which Twitter though? Because he's got a couple.
I don't remember the name now.
Okay. Well, you find me which one you're messaging. I'll tell you if it's one he's on.
I think it was GK Wordsmith.
Yeah, there's like a little kind of cartoon guy on it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was like he hadn't posted in a while. I'm like, I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was really fun that she got the book, and then 2 days later, she was actually reading from it. She finished it. I looked at her, I said, that was 200 and something pages. She goes, I know.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I've yet to pick up the book myself. At some point I will. Yeah. And then I guess the only other thing that I could say since last podcast is I am presently engaged in assisting potentially with Starlight. So that could be very exciting.
Oh, okay. You're doing edit and that kind of stuff.
It's kind of. I did a thing, and I'm still.
I remember when we had them on that you were talking
to me about it. So we'll see.
You were talking about continuity and whatnot, and they said we will reach out to you. because please explain to us, because we're...
Well, and then post-show, and we probably shouldn't say, but they said some stuff, particularly Travis,
Mhm.
and then that prompted more stuff. So we'll see if anything comes of it.
I mean, if anything, you'll get word credit. Yeah, you'll get word credit on the episode or the edition, or
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be cool, but we'll see. We'll see.
Hey, my name's in the liner notes of an album. So.
Okay, which album?
My brother-in-law released an album. His underground. It's an underground rap group from the valley here, and on the
your brother-in-law has such eclectic things.
Not the one that is married to my sister-in-law.
Not that one. The other one.
The one that's married to my actual sister.
Okay.
If you've ever heard of the band Fort Minor,
I have actually.
Yeah. The remember the name. 10% luck, 20% skill. It was.
I mean, I'm not a rap person, so
right.
But I have heard of the band.
Yeah.
Okay.
He collaborated on that.
Okay.
But his first album, 2000 Fold. It's they were Styles of Beyond, and again local underground. And on my 25th birthday, we were all hanging out at the house, and him and the whole group was there. And his producer, been a good friend of mine for a long time, and we were just kind of bullshitting back and forth. And he goes, "Oh, maybe you can help me out. I'm having this issue with my computer." And it was like, "Oh, yeah, your hard drives are dying." He goes, "We have to release the album tomorrow."
Oh my!
And I went, "Oh, well, I guess." And I looked at everyone and said, "I guess the party's over. Go grab that computer and bring it over to my house right now." And did a full data recovery, did a full rebuild of the stack, reinstalled all of his audio tools, everything, recovered all the DAC files, pieced it together so that he could do the final edits on it and actually ship out the discs, or what are they, the mini discs or whatever the tapes were back in that day.
I couldn't tell you. They've used various formats over the years.
Yeah. But anywho, the album got out on time, so when they did the liner notes on it, there's
90s. It was Redbook audio. I could have sworn.
This would have been 90s, yeah.
So it was probably a Redbook audio, which I think, I could be wrong, I think was some kind of disc that was CD-esque, but not quite.
Yeah. Okay.
Something like
that seems about right. They were almost like the Sony mini discs, I think.
Yeah, probably something like that. Probably Sony made it. I don't know. They have a lot
of... So anywho, I ended up salvaging the computer so they could get the album actually to the to the presser to release on time. So I ended up getting a small shout out on liner notes.
Okay, cool.
So if anyone in our audience has a copy of 2000 Fold and you still have the liner notes, if you see the name Nathan in there, it says thank you for getting this album out. That's me.
Cool.
So.
Well, we should probably spin the ring since we've had kind of a belated, extended technical difficulty fill life story.
It wouldn't be a fork pod without something going wrong, right?
Why do you gotta say that? You say that like we have to have technical problems every fucking show.
No, because if I say that we don't, then we will. So if I just accept that that's what it is.
Okay, we have landed on not that button. We've landed on
entertainment.
No, we've landed on video games.
Video games. Oh, good.
Cool. What you been playing there, Nate?
Well, someone recommended this game called AFK
Journey.
Is it AFK Journey?
Mm-hmm.
So I played that for a little bit. I got to a point where I'm able to do the auto battles.
Mm-hmm.
It seems kind of fun.
It's kind of an interesting hybrid, and considering it is called AFK Journey, and the AFK part you have to earn. That's interesting.
Right. That's the one thing I haven't figured out yet. Like, I don't know if I'm doing anything AFK, but I keep being told that if I go AFK, then things will happen.
So there's two AFK things in AFK Journey. that I'm aware of so far unlocked at whatever my level is.
Okay. What level are you at, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm like 54 on my main squad. I don't know if there's like
13.
I don't know if there's like a account level or if it's only your group level. I'm not sure.
Right.
So there's two forms of AFKing. Number one is you just leave the fucking game alone, and as long as you check in once every 16 hours, there's like a little gopher dude, and I guess your people are battling things, and you just collect shit.
Oh, yeah, the hamsters.
That's like
lots of hamsters.
Proper AFK. Then, depending on your level, you can go into auto battle AFK and just hit a button and then leave it until your characters die.
Right.
And then
but that's not that's not a close the app AFK thing.
It's not a close the app AFK thing, which I'm fine with because technically that's within the definition of AFK. But then there's also, if you do the auto battle thing and your guys like complete a run or something, like there's like I guess there's like, I don't know, their own like map or battle pass looking thing that like they do a certain number of levels, and once they reach the end, they're like, okay, cool, you need to go complete such and so quest, or you need to reach such and so level to get the next set of, you know, away from keyboard battle farming.
Right.
But yeah, so I had actually pre-ordered this game, even though it's a free-to-play game. I saw it, I think, back in September on some gaming thing, and I was like, oh, that art's kind of cool. And I think at that time, I was doing a lot of mining and AFK type games and stuff, as was Nate back in December. And I was just looking
Speaking of which, I was just updating. I couldn't quit.
Exominer?
I couldn't quit Exominer. Yeah, I'm at level 605 now. I was like 500, that's it, I'm done. And I'm at 605 now.
I haven't seen an update since the last update that borked the fucking frame rate.
I don't have any issues with frame rate.
Been fucked since the last update for me. And I haven't been back to it because I'm like, I can't play this with jaggy frame rate on clearly an app that is not that fucking complicated. Like, fuck that. But anyway, I had somehow found my way to AFK Journey, and then it released, and I wasn't expecting much other than the fact that I knew the art looked nice.
It's really clever looking, yeah.
And then I dove into it, and the story's pretty decent. The way things work are pretty cool. I was curious to find out it's an Unreal Engine 5 mobile game, which is interesting. And yeah, there's just like a lot of really nice things to it. It seems like there's a lot of thought and love. And apparently this is a sequel to some other game called AFK something.
Ton of shit by logging back in.
Yeah. They're pretty generous with their stuff. I haven't spent a dime, and I've got like 30 fucking characters or something. Their roster is pretty fucking huge considering they just launched. But what I also didn't know is that this game's also cross-save and is available on PC and all that sort of jazz. Really? I was like, oh, interesting. I would be curious to see what it even looks like on PC, or if they just put you in a portrait mode and say, fuck it. But yeah, AFK Journey, I feel weird talking about it now because literally today, every fucking YouTube video that I watched today had a fucking ad for this fucking game.
Oh, I know. It's funny. Like you recommended this to me, and like the last 5 podcasts that I've listened to that are gaming related have brought up this game, and I'm like, okay, everyone's getting the news.
Yeah. And like, I don't think it's, you know, the second coming of video game Christ or anything like that, but like, it's nice, it's lovely, it's got good music, it's got good voice acting, it's just pleasant. like,
Yeah.
like it's just like
It's got
pleasant.
adorable little hamsters, and it's got a gotcha element to it where you can roll, or you can what do they call that? Recruit.
Yeah, they call it something else in the game, but yeah,
Right.
basically, yeah, you recruit. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've already got my big boobed witch. I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I got her the first time around. I was like, yeah, I like you. I've got like 2 witches now. I've got like Linda and and
I have a
whoever the wicked witch is.
and I have like an evil thorn.
Yep,
Witch
I have the thorn witch. I have the red
thing.
witch, and then I have another witch.
Okay.
But yeah, like it's been fun, and like when you do your gotcha thing, it's like roll for 10, and you get 8 hamsters with acorns that do something.
I think they add to your experience that
you
can then distribute to your team, something like that. So I've been doing that, and I've been.
So I see this. I see the AFK now here. Like when I open it back up, I've literally got a treasure chest and a timer and a hamster that's just like running around grabbing coins, and I'm earning stuff.
Yeah, that's.
I wish it was earn in the background, like a la Exominer. When I log back in, it's like, oh, you've been gone for this long, and catches you up. But yeah, it's generous. It's fun. It's very good to look at. Like,
yeah, art style is.
It's kind
lovely.
of got a. I almost feel it's got the what was the it's a stick with the fox.
No.
No, but
it
that kind of
not have graphics like Tunic.
Well, ish. It's kind of got that shaded, cartoony look.
Tunic has a low poly, like a modern low poly look to everything. This has like a. It reminds me of like storybooks.
Yes.
The art. It's got like a storybook art in a really pleasant way.
But it's not trying too hard. It's like when you hear Unreal 5 and you're like, oh, this is going to be just gorgeous. No, it's flat. It's cartoony. But it moves good.
I would say there's a little bit of extra magic going on because my phone runs pretty hot with the game.
Do you really want to know? Yeah.
Does it run hot on yours too?
Oh my God.
Does it run Honkai Star Rail hot?
No.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, this is definitely more optimized for my phone. But it does warn me because I literally have everything turned up to 120 hertz frame rate.
Yeah.
Everything superb.
Yeah. I have it also cranked to whatever maximums it would let me do as well.
Right. And the little hamster said, your phone is going to be hurting. Did
your hamster say that?
Yeah.
I didn't have a hamster that said that for me.
It's up in the upper right. It's like your phone will be it will use extreme battery life, and I'm like, okay, fair.
Okay, fair enough. And I've been meaning to talk about it for some time now because I have been playing it a lot this year. Is Honkai Star Rail had their 2.0 and actually just this last week their 2.1 update. And this was a bigger deal because in kind of the life cycle of Honkai Star Rail, where you go exploring planets, launch, there's a space station, and then World 1, and then World 2 was kind of lackluster for me. And then they added World 3 at the beginning of the year. And man, World 3 has like stuff. It's wild. Like, so to give you context for people who haven't played or those who have even, Honkai Star Rail, JRPG gacha game from the Hoyoverse guys.
Genshin Impact, yeah.
Yes, but specifically the Japanese team.
No, I know, but
not the Chinese team.
That's where people will know Hoyo from.
Yes. Same parent company.
Right.
First area is sci-fi space station. Then second is a steampunk world that has like a whole thing against like an ice storm thing that they've been fighting for decades. Like really cool kind of sci-fi stuff. Very excellent story. Second world, which I was not super hot on, is like this weird like Chinese dynasty set in the clouds with like floating like vehicles that are made out of vines that grow from things and stuff, and there was an angry god that was a bitch and all sorts of stuff. Like, it looked pretty, but I was not digging it on the story side at all. World 3, which is called Penacony, is a hotel that's built on top of a supposedly old not used prison that then has an Inception-like quality, quite literally, where you go to the hotel to go to sleep and go to these dream states, and then like below the like hotel in like a dream level is like this like Disneyland Big Bopper Carnival BioShock fucking thing. And it's cool as shit. like it's got like a mafioso storyline going on. There's a fucking clock that sounds like Mickey Mouse that's like talking about his problems. There's fucking like Ford Model Ts running around everywhere, and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? This is fucking bonkers. Like, they went crazy in the art design and the story department. Like, it's very fascinating, and I haven't finished all the story mode yet for this particular world, but as one might guess from a hotel built on top of an old not used prison doing Inception dreams, all is probably not what it seems, and there's probably a very sinister element that I'm sure to uncover at some point.
Right.
But it's very interesting, because I definitely was worried with the second world that they had introduced, which was basically all of last year's content, because it felt lesser than the first world, and I've said that before on the show. And so I was like, I do really love the game, and I'm going to keep playing the game, but this world was kind of a miss for me in the story department and kind of the execution. I think I had said something like, it felt like they shoved this world to fill a content hole, and this was like the beta for what the game could be, but didn't reach it, and they shelved it and then pulled it out after they launched the game.
Right.
And then Penacony is like, it's so far, it's like firing on all cylinders for me. And it's just really cool. It's really fun. It makes me excited to explore the Honkai Star Rail world again. So I'm just pleased that the launch version and content of the game I'm pleased that that wasn't a fluke. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Hoyo's done the world they've built across, Genshin, Honkai. There's the other Honkai. There's I forget the name of it now.
It's Honkai Impact 3rd.
Yes.
Which now has a part 2 slapped onto it, because I guess they just did like a huge. I guess they overhauled the like entire game from stem to stern.
Right.
Since it was their like oldest one.
Right.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. So I've been playing that like a lot. I've been playing that almost every day. The only thing that's been cutting into my phone time with that is actually the AFK Journey.
which I'm leveling up my characters right now as we speak. Yeah,
there's a way for us to be friends in the game.
There is.
I don't know how to do that, but we should definitely do that.
Yes.
For sure.
I'm at level 30 now.
Oh, well, there you go. Jumping right ahead. Of course, just general stuff on games. I'm still kind of playing Helldivers with my boys. I'm getting a little burnt out on it, if I'm being totally honest. I dove into Sea of Thieves this week, which I haven't done in quite some time, and was
That's
pleased.
A throwback.
I was pleased with all the updates. Well, I'm kind of getting ready because it seems like my PlayStation group is gonna jump on the Sea of Thieves.
Right. I was going to say,
April.
have you played it on your PS5 yet?
Well, it's not there yet, for starters.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
And secondly, I'm poor, so it's a good thing it has cross-save, cross-play.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm kind of getting back into that world again, and kind of preparing for basically 30 days from now when the game launches on PlayStation, and some other friends getting on that.
And all the Xbox fanboys cry because that was ours.
I mean, they will, and I do, as I
already
have
are.
A Sea of Thieves Xbox controller in my hand right now, and I have a Sea of Thieves 2 terabyte drive hooked up to my Xbox right now.
No, I get you.
But I think the thing, though, is, you can turn off crossplay from PC to console. You cannot turn off crossplay from console to console. So
right.
all the Xbox players, there's going to be fresh meat in the water for many months, probably the whole year, and it's going to be a good time. Because everybody else, who've been playing it for 8 years will have these all dripped out ships and fancy ghost shales and stuff.
I almost feel bad for the PlayStation people entering in this foray, but
I mean, we'll see.
Almost.
I mean, we'll see how Microsoft balances the.
They won't.
Player. Yeah, you're right. They probably won't. It'll be just server first come first serve.
Right.
But no, it's going to be great because then they'll be like, oh, what's that on the horizon? Oh, is that a white sail and a basic ship? Let's go get them. It's going to be great. So yeah, I did a little bit of that this week. No Man's Sky dropped another fucking giant update out of fucking left field again. I actually played it. I played it for about an hour today. After my wife left for work before I had dinner and jumped on this podcast. So basically this update, they completely overhauled space stations in the game, which is a huge component of the game. They were like 90% more procedurally generated, totally different now, different layouts, new things. And they finally added a feature which you'd be surprised to find out isn't in No Man's Sky yet, which is the ability to customize your actual look of your spaceship.
Okay.
And they did it in an interesting way. I did have a chance to fool around with it to kind of figure out how it works. So you can craft a ship totally however you want. However, you have to have the component of the ship. So basically what it does is it sets up an entirely new economy, because No Man's Sky didn't have fucking enough of those already, of ship parts. So basically, if you want, say, like an R2-D2 looking droid on your wing, you need to find a spaceship that has that specific RNG generation on that ship. And then you have to smelt that whole fucking ship down just to get that one part. So it adds this whole, like, used cars salesman selling trading ships and junking ships for, like, a pimp my ride kind of feeling for your ships. What that also means is, like, say for example, so like myself, who has like a bazillion fucking gazillion hours in No Man's Sky, and I have some very, very choice ships that I have acquired by chance over the 8, 7, 9 years, however long this game's been out. And it's not as simple as, oh, I have this ship, I can take X, Y, and Z component. It's like, oh, if I want to take X, Y, and Z from this ship that I've had for hundreds of hours, I'd have to smelt the fucker down, lose the ship, and only get access to like the left wing of the ship to then customize other things furthermore. So there's probably, I don't know, there's probably like, I looked at the grayed out parts list. There's probably like 600 ship parts, all in all, that make up the procedural generation of the different ships. So for longtime players who are like mega rich and have all the things in the game, there's now a new thing to hunt for and grind for and that sort of thing.
Right.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. They also additionally added some features which I wasn't able to test out yet because I couldn't figure out how the fuck to get to said features in the game, which I'll say it is definitely becoming a problem for No Man's Sky with the frequency of updates and like, it's like, oh, X, Y, and Z features in the game. And you boot up the game and you tool around and you're like, yeah, but where are they? What do I need
how
to
do I do that?
Yeah. Right. So one of the big features they added in the game is they kind of blended some features with some old features. So they've had the ability to have like a you can collect a bunch of ships and then give them to pilots and create like an elite AI squadron that like flies with you in space. And so they added an aspect to that with something that's been in the game for, I think, since year 2, where you have like a fleet of frigates and you send them out on missions. Except those missions are basically just like yes, no, maybe choose your own adventure kind of things. Right. And it'll be like, Commander, we've encountered such and so on planet. Text, do we invade? How do you advise? Blah, 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 blah. Mostly you can do those on autopilot. But now, if you make a bad call and your freighters are in danger and getting attacked and you haven't outfitted them correctly, now you have the opportunity to warp from your mothership freighter with your elite squadron, fly in and save your own ships in distress, which right. is on paper and in the trailer looks fucking dope. Again, I have no idea how to do that right now, but it's cool. It's cool that it's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's that. I know the canceled, delayed, and then mysteriously released yesterday demo for PlayStation exclusive game Stellar Blade is out. I have it downloaded. I'm hearing actually nothing but good things about the game. Apparently everybody really loves it. So I'm looking forward to check Stellar Blade.
Okay.
You can probably remember this from, they've been having trailers for like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Sexy Asian lady in space with swords.
Right.
It's an action game.
It's a thing. Yeah.
Yep, it is. But I guess the game's supposedly really good. So, that's the thing. And then, I've played a little bit more Final Season 2 with the boys. It continues to be good. And
you were playing Rainbow Six earlier with the boys.
Yeah, that was unexpected, actually. I hadn't planned to get on with them. I was just kind of chilling, playing AFK Journey and watching old X-Men cartoons and eating spaghetti.
Old X-Men or the new old X-Men?
Old X-Men.
Okay.
Original 90s version.
Yes.
Because I'm doing a slow rewatch of all of those. And we'll get into that in entertainment, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They had a limited time event that was actually a repeat from one they did like 3 years ago, but it was a fun one. So the boys were like, hey, jump on this. And it's like, okay, I can give you guys an hour before I got to do my show. So did that. And then the only other thing I have to say is that I'm still absolutely nowhere in my replay of Final Fantasy VII Remake so that I can get to my practically purchased and dusty copy of Final Fantasy Rebirth.
Right.
That I have been diligently dodging spoilers for far too fucking long now, and I really need to get my ass in gear so that I can beat it and be free of potentially things getting spoiled for me. But my excuse is I've been really busy, and when I have had time, it's generally been phone game or a little bit of multiplayer game here and there.
Throne game?
Phone game.
Oh, throne. Throne, sitting on the porcelain throne game.
I mean, sure. We all gotta pay our tolls to the porcelain gods, okay?
Right.
Yeah. So were you playing anything else besides AFK?
I haven't much gotten back into I think the last time I played Helldivers was with you after our last show.
Okay.
Was it?
Yes, it was. And that was an experience with you trying to get off of objects in that game.
What's your point?
My point was every time you're like, ooh, I want to do the objective, and then your character is stuck on the objective, and you're like, I'm pressing the keyboard button, get off the thing. It's like, the bugs are coming, Nate. I mean, I don't know. There've been a bunch of patches since then. Maybe they fixed it.
Maybe.
It'd be nice. If you wish to give it another go tonight,
I think we should.
I'd be willing to lend my...
You'd be willing to stay awake since you have to be awake anyways?
I'd be willing to tough it out with my boy.
Oh, wow. Thank you for your charity.
Yeah.
Alms for the poor.
Yeah. They did add 2 new weapons this week. One of them on paper sounds great, but it sucks. And then the other is now God tier.
Right. There's the quasar cannon.
Yes, that is God tier.
Yeah.
It is
which I was told one of our streaming elite calls the Q a cannon.
Yeah, because it says it's quasar. Yeah.
Q canon. Yeah. He was being cheeky.
I see. No, the quasar cannon is great because it's basically a infinite ammo laser rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Like literally there is no ammo. It just has a cooldown and you can just hold R2, count to 25 and bam-a-go again.
Yeah.
And it has no shot drop off, so you can snipe like a fucking madman with the thing. It is amazing. Full stop. It's just amazing to not have to fucking worry about ammo. So that's all I got on games. I'm trying to see if there's any news thingies to say. I don't think so. Well, okay then. Spin.
Apparently I have to dispel a miasma cloud.
Yes, you're going to have to do that basically a lot in this game. That's how they gate the world.
Right. So I'm currently gated.
Yes. All right, we landed on the Earth, which is technology. I only got a couple of things to talk about there. So Elon's at it again. The first human patient has fully recovered from his Neuralink procedure. He's a quadriplegic who can now control a mouse cursor with his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And not only is he happy about it, because he can, be productive in something that he previously could not interface with in any way, shape, or form, but dude's using it to play Civilization and win.
Good for him.
6, I think, on PC. And I'm just like, in the back dark recesses of my mind, I was like, yeah, if I was a quadriplegic and Neuralink allowed me to play PC games, that is what I would do.
Yeah, the Civ 100%. Or like StarCraft, right?
Yeah,
any point and click, mouse, right? Diablo.
I get really into like classic point and click adventure games,
right?
Anything that has that simple of an interface.
Minesweeper.
I mean, maybe not that. I was never good at Minesweeper. I was just like fucking guessing and then blowing up and yeah.
But yeah, like good for him. That's some scary ass tech.
Sure, but it's here and it's only going to get better.
Right. And, for everyone that's like, I'm never going to let them put a chip in my brain. Yeah, lose control of your arms, legs, everything from your neck down, bowels. And then tell me how much you wouldn't like to have some function or control of your life back.
It for me, it's really not any different than synthetic heart, the little replacement ears that let you hear but tinny, replacement eyes.
Right.
It's quote unquote cyberpunk, but
is it like here's where I draw the line on that.
Moving.
Now, if it starts pulling my thoughts and then, suddenly I get a book at my front door from an author that I just talked about last night.
Mm-hmm.
Right. When we start getting into that level of it's reading my thoughts, and I thought about bacon and 2 pounds of bacon show up at my front door the next day. Okay. Now we have a problem. Or if it starts injecting advertisements into my dreams.
Sure. I mean,
I have a problem with that.
I personally don't think you or I would ever see that in our lifetime. Because I feel technologically, unless there is some crazy leap that we cannot anticipate, right now.
That's where I feel like the populace is coming from when they look at Neuralink. They're like, no way you're putting a chip in my brain and tracking my every thought and whatever. And it's like, no, that's not it. It is so this guy right here can move a mouse cursor with his brain.
Yeah, and I think
imagine if Stephen Hawking had this level.
That would have been awesome for him, for sure.
Right?
But like I think people are definitely getting ahead of themselves there.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the technology is reading electrical signals.
Impulse. Yeah.
And it's been mapped in such a way for specifically this dude and for specifically a mouse.
And again, this is and this is not new technology in the sense of this is the first time it's been put in your brain.
Yeah.
For quadriplegics, they've been putting devices here.
Yep.
Where you can remap visual on like your upper bicep or shoulder, where you can remap your like muscle impulses to then control a device.
Mm-hmm.
And once you relearn how to work your shoulder muscle, you now have a functioning appendage.
Yeah.
So.
And it's really not terribly different than the handicap accessible specialized video game controllers that PlayStation and Xbox have.
Sure.
You're using what you have available to you for your body as inputs, giant trackpad. Sony's is that weird circular thing with customizable buttons.
Oh, even to the point of breath pipes.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I think there's a blow pipe and a suck pipe, and it does a different function. Mm-hmm. I think both of them have that. If I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I've seen that for just mobility in general, not even video games. I want to navigate, and I have I can't even chin a joystick. So you have a blow pipe, a suck pipe for forward, back, another one for left and right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not. It creeps me out a little bit about having a microprocessor attached to my brain.
Sure.
Because of all the,
is a bit
but again,
different.
because of all the sci-fi that we've watched over the years, right? I think that's where people are getting scared. Like, well, if they can do this, then what if they do it? They reverse engineer and they start pulling our thoughts out of our brain. And
I mean, we're not going to get
selling them to China.
At the very least, in mine and yours lifetime, what we have left of it, we're not going to get to altered carbon.
Right.
It's the stack in the back of your vertebrae.
Right.
I don't think so. There's no way.
Right. I think the fear is, will we eventually get there? And is this the start of that journey?
Could be.
Maybe.
Could be.
Not going to say it's not.
To say.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's up to you guys to figure out where you want to put the guardrails on. We've been saying this about AI. Right? Put the guardrails on.
This is true. Well, we'll see on those guardrails.
Good for that guy. Like, I hope that someday I play him in Civ and he rips me a new one.
Yeah. No, it's very cool. It's very cool that he's able to do something that he can't or couldn't before, I should say.
Right.
And as somebody whose day job is ultimately helping disabled people, disabled people need help. That's just the long and short of it. And it's the same thing as like an automatic door. It's there for the disabled person, a person who can't open the door, or the elderly, or the weak, or whatever. And it helps them, but it also just happens to casually benefit normal people as well. So,
and again, like when you put, especially in your case, it's like, does it hurt you that there's a ramp instead of a staircase?
Me? No.
Right.
No.
For the
usually there's both.
Right. For the abled people, it's like, does it hurt that there's a ramp there? No. Does it hurt that the door opens up for you? No.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that you do, and in accessibility in general, it's meant to be so discreet that it does not, like, when your accessibility interferes with the day-to-day of abled people, I understand that there could be a pushback on that.
Sure.
Right. But nothing we've done in the accessibility cases have ever made it more difficult for abled people.
Yeah. Honestly, just within the last decade, both with computer and even just like my own industry, like just stuff's come such a long way.
Yeah.
Like already, I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah. The inconveniences that I've heard are, well, but we could have 5 bathrooms here instead of 4 because you made this one bigger to accommodate a wheelchair. And it's like, that's a you problem, not an accessibility problem.
I mean,
right.
My counterpoint to that would be like, okay, well, we also didn't need to make the 3rd multi-gender room bathroom in between the 2 bathrooms we already had.
Sure.
Really not at all maximizing bathroom space.
Right.
But I
digress. Again, that becomes a you problem, not a industry problem. As far as accessibility is concerned, it's like, so you lost a toilet so that someone else could actually shit without having to do gymnastics that they don't even, they can't.
Sure.
Right. You made the handicap stall.
Yeah.
Could you have had another toilet there? Sure, you could.
Yeah. I thought that's what something different. Yeah. Okay, I'm tracking. My bad.
Yeah, not the all gender shit. But
yeah. Okay, so that leaves us on entertainment.
Well, what was the second one? Was the you were talking about Apple reinstates after they Apple canceled?
Not the reinstate thing. We covered that last episode, actually.
Did we? Okay.
Yes, very, very briefly. Like Cliff Notes. But no, you're talking about guardrails on AI. And Apple has announced their Worldwide Developers Conference for June 10th through 14th or something. And they're basically they're saying everything but directly saying, yeah, this one's going to be all about AI.
Right.
Because they called the event something cheeky like Apple Intelligence event or something like that.
The AI phone, yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know, the banner. I should probably just pull it up so I don't sound like a fucking idiot.
Right. Well, that would make sense. It's the AI phone, the AI pad, the AI Mac.
Worldwide Developers Conference is there. Oh yeah, there's their cheeky thing. Apple WWDC 2024 will be, quote, absolutely incredible.
And you don't appreciate my dad jokes, really?
I mean, you know. Yes. Right. So, I mean, if anybody's going to put some safety rails on this AI thing, one would expect it to be Apple. But we'll see. But we'll see. We shall see.
I think.
Yeah. I did hear these were rumors, unsubstantiated, that, and I've said before, there's going to be a lot of on-device AI stuff, but it sounds like Apple is going to go with one of the big boys for the back-end server stuff. Because the rumor that I heard was that they were in open talks with Microsoft OpenAI, Google Gemini, and then there's one from China I'd never even fucking heard of. They're called like Apogea or something funky.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, I could see them going kind of like a mixed way. It's like, okay, server side, yes, you can have the horsepower to run whatever the fuck you want, versus stuff on the device would have to definitely be done by Apple.
Well, I mean, NVIDIA's already kind of entering in that foray as well for doing on device.
Yeah. There was their thing this year as well, where they're like, hey, this is the third pillar of our company. Like,
right.
Pay attention.
And you've already got Fiverr accounts of people that are ready to code and build AI on this new architecture that's coming out from NVIDIA.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't
and hopefully we get more, like, I forget which airline it was, but someone, they implemented a chat bot into its customer service feature, and then
was it one of the terrible airlines?
It wasn't one of them. I think it was one of the major ones. I think United. Yeah, I mean, United's terrible for a whole different reason, but they're one of the major ones. It wasn't Spirit or like Costco Airlines.
Is there a Costco Airlines?
Give it time.
I don't think so.
we're getting to the point where by and large it's going to be like, anyone knows the Wall-E reference.
You get a Costco Airlines. It's only like giant freight planes.
Right. Giant freight planes, and you can get, there's 20 seats that you can go and sit on that plane.
But here's the real question. If I'm flying Costco Air, they'd better be serving me Costco hot dogs while I'm flying. You know what I'm saying?
Well, why wouldn't they? Yeah.
Get a Costco food cart.
Costco hot dogs, Costco fried chicken, Costco pizza.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably would.
And we're dumb. It'd be called Kirkland Signature Airways.
KSA. Here we go.
KSA flight 24.
Right.
Coming in for landing.
Where were we? You just totally derailed my train of thought.
I think we're done with technology and we're moving on to entertainment.
Okay.
Because I have many, many things. We'll start with you, though. What have you been watching, Sir Nate?
So I've been watching or hearing a lot of the Oscar coverage on podcasts that I follow, because I'm like, I've gotten back to less than 10 days behind.
Okay.
So a lot of them have just gone over the Oscar talk.
Okay.
So I've been going over the Oscar movies, and I just watched the Poor Things movie.
Oh. Any good?
It's weird.
Weird good?
It's just weird. I don't know it's Mark Ruffalo. It's
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. You see, like, if you ever wanted to see Emma Stone naked, this is the movie for you.
Nah, it's not been on my my list. I like her as an actress a lot.
I love her as an actress.
But,
I saw more of her than I thought I would ever see. Getting railed by Mark Ruffalo repeatedly.
Oh God, I don't need to see that then.
Right?
That is not something I have any interest in.
Willem Dafoe looking like Frankenstein's monster.
Okay.
And somewhere in there was a really touching story.
You think?
About
question mark?
I'm trying to figure out the whole point of the movie and like why it was like Oscar worthy. It was so weird on such a visceral level, like, and not to be spoilery, it's in the like premise of the movie. A woman commits suicide, and this doctor, Willem Dafoe, brings her back to life. By putting the brain of her unborn child back into her head and reanimating her.
All right.
Right. That's the premise of it. And then I tell you that you see Emma Stone naked getting reeled by Mark Ruffalo throughout the entire movie. I don't know how we got from there to there. To working in a whorehouse to the end of the movie. Like, it was odd.
Okay.
And I don't know that I enjoyed it. I didn't hate it.
Okay.
I was just, when the credits rolled, I was, what the fuck?
I gotcha.
So I would love to hear someone else's feedback on Poor Things.
Oh, wait, hang on.
Yeah, put it on your watch list, please. I would love to hear your feedback on it.
I mean, I've had some interest in seeing it, but everything you just told me about it makes me not want to see it now.
Right, but the acting is phenomenal. Mark Ruffalo is amazing. Willem Dafoe is amazing. Emma Stone is amazing. And who the other guy, Remy something or other?
I don't know.
I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Like, all the acting is amazing in the entire thing. I just don't know why this movie exists.
Well, maybe that's why it won awards, because people like acting stuff.
Sure.
Like, that's all I got for you on that.
But outside of that, yeah, just the regular procedurals.
Okay.
And then I'm sure you and I will talk about it in the course of this category. You recommended or told me about X-Men 97. I knew it was out, so I finally binge watched. I don't know, did the fourth come out already?
No, third was this week.
Okay, what day does that release on?
They dropped with 2, just to confuse you, and it comes out on Wednesdays.
Okay, so next Wednesday the fourth will come out.
And
yeah, like, I'm enjoying it. A lot.
Yeah.
Like, a whole lot.
You know, I'm like, this is X-Men to me. This was what I grew up with. Trading cards, Pizza Hut fucking tie-ins, like the whole 9 yards. And I was cautiously optimistic with the trailer earlier this year. Then the show dropped, and I saw that it had a perfect 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, both fans and critics. And I was like, there's no fucking way.
Right.
And then I booted up the show, and not only is it perfect.
Right. The only
might
criticism
be better than perfect.
Yeah, the only criticism I've heard from the show is people calling it Disney woke bullshit, and to them I say, you never watched the original X-Men.
Yeah,
you don't know the source material.
It's like the people who say that about Star Trek. I was like, you have no fucking clue what you're talking about.
Right.
Like, you have no fucking clue what you're talking about.
Right. But like after watching the first three episodes, like I understand where they're coming from in today's climate. Like I understand where they're coming from, and and again to them I say, you just never understood the original source material. To watch Magneto just go, as I said before, I'll say now, never again. Like, yes.
Yeah, it's man.
And that's not a spoiler for anything.
Yeah, no, not at all. Because Magneto says that a lot in all the things, even the live action movies. I've been trying to put together in my head like what it is specifically, other than the fact that it's nailing everything.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that I've kind of broken it down in my head is X-Men 97, which is a direct continuation of the original 90s X-Men 5-season run.
Mm-hmm.
I'm equating it to something like Capcom's Resident Evil remakes, if the remake also was a proper sequel and continued from like the main line Resident Evils. Like that's how I would put it, because the art, while not the same as the original, mimics it, but then pushes it forward, modernizes it, but it still looks and feels.
I was gonna say, like when you said it modernized it, I'm like, not really, other than you don't get the animation artifacts from the limitations of back then, right?
Well, that's why I'm using this kind of odd analogy of it's like a remake, but not.
Right.
Because
there are times when I'm watching that and it's like, oh, the animation dropped down to 10 frames per second, like they did back in the day, because that's how you saved money.
Mm-hmm. The thing for me is, like, the music is better.
Mm-hmm.
It's
that opening theme.
Most of the surviving cast, I say most because not all who came back actually revoiced their own character. They either aged out or they didn't get the part, because I've been watching a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and basically all the living members of the original cast were asked to come back, including the villains, but they did all audition again.
Right.
And the interviews I was seeing with Cal Dodge, who's the original Wolverine, and forgive me, I'm forgetting the name of the original actress who plays Rogue. They said basically, they had to get an email from a friend who is still in the industry, and somebody had to track them down, basically.
Right.
And they're like, "Are you serious?" And they're like, "Yes, we want you to come back. We would like you to re-audition. If you've still got it, we will give it to you, but we want you to know that if it's not there, we will probably look at somebody else."
Right.
And so they did that, and most people came back in. So it's the original Wolverine, it's the original Rogue, it's the original Beast. I didn't know this until recently. It's apparently the original Mr. Sinister. Spoilers for episode 3. Whoop-de-doo.
Just spoilers with my name change in the server.
Oh, yeah, I know. I saw that. I was like, oh, yeah, he probably likes it. And then, other people like, we have more professional voice actors doing Cyclops and Jean Grey. New people playing Jubilee and Gambit and stuff like that. I was going to say,
Jubilee nailed it. Gambit was kind of off. Yeah, Gambit was kind of off.
I'm feeling it more as I'm watching the old Gambit, because it is a different actor. So there is like a different voice. And the thing that I'm again learning with the behind the scenes stuff, like the Jubilee gal, she talked about how like when she was a kid watching this 90s show,
Right.
like Jubilee was her girl because she's Asian American, and like she's like, one day I'm going to be an actress and I'm going to play Jubilee, and she's like, and here I am actually playing the role that I was thinking of.
That I not a reprisal. I'm playing the character that I watched.
And it's so interesting because she was talking about her audition process, and apparently for the people who were new or replacing actors that were not coming back or were dead, what they had them do in the audition was mimic and then quote unquote acting the line.
Right. And then riff. Yeah.
And then they basically kind of found an in between, and that's how they settled on each voice actor who came in and replace. And like the Cyclops guy, who hilariously doesn't sound anything at all like Cyclops with his normal voice. He has, he gets this nice big bravado performance as Cyclops. And he's just got this kind of somewhat meek voice in reality or whatever. He was talking about his audition process was super weird because all it was him saying, Gene, 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 like 68 times in every single different way.
Gene.
And apparently that was the audition. So everybody had like a really weird audition. It was really odd. Like Cal Dodge, who does Wolverine, he was talking about when he re-auditioned for Wolverine. He said, so they picked a scene from the original series, and he said it was a really odd scene, he thought, because he's like, usually Wolverine's like yelling and growling and grunting or saying some kind of quip, and he's like, it is a scene from like episode 4 or 5 where Wolverine's in the Arctic talking to some Native Americans about how he's happy there, and it's like a really quiet voice thing, and he's like, and that's what they had the audition on, so whatever, I guess.
But you can get anyone to grunt. You can't get anyone to. You can't get everyone to personify the character, and obviously Cal Dodge is going to do that.
Sure,
because he was the character for so long.
Yeah.
I was actually curious about that because I was looking at the credits. I'm like, are these all the originals? No. And I started looking into it, and it was like, okay, these aren't.
Magneto's new. A lot of
Magneto's good.
Morph is new. I think Magneto's maybe better than the original.
That's what I was saying. Magneto's good.
I'm rewatching it now, and I'm like, actually, the OG Magneto's kind of sucky.
Right.
Totally honest.
He's kind of Megatron by comparison. Yeah.
It's a different voice. Like, it's similar, but it's not. Right. It's not the same.
Right. And Morph has some chops. But like, again, the only one that really, like, Gambit kind of stuck out. I was like, this is weird. Everyone else kind of fit their roles. Gambit just kind of.
I felt it was
weird.
Better by episode 3.
Sure.
I think it was also that, like,
Well, he was kind of given some purpose in episode 3.
Actual Louisiana Cajun is a very
that's tough
specific
to do.
thing, and I actually had a in Boy Scouts growing up. One of the adult leaders, he was a genuine gumbo Cajun, like
Creole.
he had such an interesting voice. Like, it's like, man, that accent is wild. Like, very much English, but like, it's
and that's probably like knowing that I've known some Creole, I've known some Cajun, like IRL. So to hear someone do it so well, which the original Gambit did, to hear this one and it's like,
well, and so
and like you said, by episode 3, when he was actually started to give some purpose and therefore lines that actually had emotion. Yeah, you're right. It's starting to clean up.
So the guy who does Gambit, he was talking about how he had a college friend who is proper Cajun, and so before he auditioned, basically he was like, like just start saying words and stuff. Like, are there particular sayings? Like, would you say this a particular way? And that's basically, so he's basically mimicking his friend, was how he was doing Gambit's voice. So yeah, it's very interesting. A lot of the original writers have returned on the show as well. It's not the same composers, but the composers who they do have are doing a fucking phenomenal job, both elevating the score with new instrumentations, but also keeping it 90s, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, again, when I heard the original, the opening, and I was like, okay, here we go. I got to the very end, and there's that one bell that everyone knows. There's a bell, and I was like, is the bell gonna be there? Yep. Yeah. And there it was, and I was like, yes, okay.
I mean, everything else is there in that intro. Right. And I don't know if you've noticed from episode to episode, the intros, like, they're slightly different.
I actually been skipping them.
You are dumb. Go back and rewatch them. So the first episode is straight up the original. It's a little bit longer in length, actually. Yeah. I think it's like a minute 30.
I watched the original. I skipped the second one. I watched the third one just to make sure that I was still, like, I just wanted to hear the intro again.
Yeah. So don't skip them. Okay. The reason being, so episode 2, when it goes to Magneto, it like zooms in on him, like in the theme, and there's like
you say that as your hands make your camera go rup, rup.
Yeah, I know, and nobody here sees that in a podcast,
right?
But they zoom into his eye and show him like envisioning the space colony that he ultimately has, I think in like season 3 or 4 of the original series. And they do that with like other characters, like they do callbacks to like the episodes that they had, and they like redraw them and stuff. And so each intro is just a little bit different. There's something new every intro. I know
the end credits are kind of the same too. Cool. Yeah, the end credits where they do the profiles.
Yeah, where they do the CGI profiles, just like season 1. It's not that bad because they're using the new models, but and then another thing too is, man, like, it's so funny going back, especially because I was just watching episodes today, watching the original and then watching the new show, and how much they've like badassified everybody. Like, obviously Cyclops is a big one where he's like using his lasers to propel himself in like combat movement, like a fucking boss.
Right, to superhero land.
Yeah. The fucking first episode, he just fucking jumps out of the jet and like, Cyclops can't fly, everybody. And he just like He-Man lasers down to Earth. And you're just like, what the fuck?
Right.
Like, they are like, it's so wild because talking about it out of context without seeing it's like, well, that could be like kind of lame or like over the top. But really what it is like, the crew that has reassembled new and old to make this show fully 1000% understands what the old show is, what the new show needs to be, and is just flexing with so much confidence. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, guys. Like, it's wild. And part of it is really odd because 3 days before the premiere, the showrunner actually got fired by Disney. And I'm just like, what the fuck did that man do? Because clearly this shit is legendary, and nobody said a goddamn peep. There's no data anywhere about what the deal is with that. And so, yeah. But no, this show has been so successful that all of the rumor mills that I've heard are saying, well, if we did X-Men 97, we could do Spider-Man from the 90s, which also did cross over with X-Men in the 90s.
Right.
And I'm just like, because obviously I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I'm like,
please,
Christopher Christopher Daniel Barnes, who's the voice actor for Spider-Man Peter Parker in that era, is still very much alive and can still very much do the voice. And I'm just like, oh my God, please do that. Like, you would be dumb not to do that at this point. You know, like, oh my God, it would be incredible. Like, it just would be.
Then we've got Halo.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this last time, though.
Yeah, but we didn't get to the season ending last time.
I could have sworn we did.
Because it didn't happen yet.
It did.
Did we talk about? Because we didn't talk about. No, I know we didn't talk about the flood.
I could have swore we did.
Thought we talked offline about that.
Maybe. Anyway,
yeah, that
Halo season 2 finale. Do you want to get into it? Get into it.
I have no issues with the way the season worked out, other than the again, typical complaint: 8 episodes. Could have gotten 2 more, but they really crammed a lot into that last episode as far as moving the plot forward.
I didn't like it.
I didn't either, because it was just a lot, and 45 minutes, and now we're talking about the flood, and we're on the ring now. Spoilers, sorry, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it,
here's my problem with the finale.
I
can look past the fact that we infected Dr. Halsey with the flood and put her on cryostasis, and the humans unleashed the flood somewhere else other than Halo. And not just because canonically, and even in the games, like, Forerunners had flood in all kinds of facilities all over the galaxy.
Right.
Like, I can look at that from a thematic lens and be like, okay, that's interesting. Humans introducing this third faction that's really going to upset the way things go in the Halo universe, because it does.
Bigly, yeah.
I can even look past this kind of like, oh, is Chief going to save all these Spartans? And fucking, I can't think of her name. Totally not Kelly from
Kai?
The games. Kai. Is Chief going to go save Kai? Like, or is he going to go to the ring? And even the good but rushed CGI fight with him and different Arbiter from the games fight.
I thought was really good, other than the bad CGI, which again, I don't care.
The thing that
the CGI is bad.
The thing that irked me is I know a lot of Halo fans who are mixed on the show maybe loved that episode specifically. When I reached the end of the episode, I just kind of felt like we reached the end sloppily.
Sure.
I was hoping...
What did you think about Guilty Spark?
It's not Guilty Spark.
Oh, who is that?
It is a different guy because of the way his head stood up.
Okay.
I mean, they could very well call him Guilty Spark in season 3 if they get to that. And I kind of figured from the very beginning with the way that was happening, and he was talking to somebody and there's a different voice and it was ever so slightly affected. And I'm like, could be Guilty Spark. I think, I don't know. I just have so many mixed feelings about this kind of like, it's epic, but it's not. We're doing this, but we're also kind of not. But now we're jumping to this, but now we're doing this. Oh, here's the moment where Chief has good dialogue with Cortana, and it's like the games, and we get a shot that's like straight out of Halo Infinite with the helmet looking at Halo.
Or the helmet by the side, yeah.
Yeah. It just... It felt too much like an opening act and not a finale.
Sure.
And I actually went back and
which is why I kind of said, like, if they don't do a season 3, if season 3 doesn't happen for any reason, I'm just going to be pissed, because
sure,
they didn't finale.
And I think I think we did have a Discord text chat where I said, well, if it gets canceled, it would be on Paramount or Microsoft, because by all accounts, it sounds like it's a big winner for Paramount.
Right.
And I agree, the new showrunner did great. I hope we keep him. I hope we keep things as are, because obviously the crew did really well, and everybody who had to pivot with new people and COVID and the actors strike and the writers strike and everything, I think did a really good job not letting that impact the quality of the show. But I still believe that if we were to get a season 3 with the same exact crew and writing stuff, I think it would be the strongest yet. I think we're still not there. And I think the fact that they intentionally set up things to be in a remixed capacity from the games at this point, rather than a retelling, is... I think at this point, as a fan, like, what I would expect of season 3 is that we would get mixed elements from probably Halo 2 and stuff in a Halo 1 storyline, if they even do that, you know?
Right. And again, I'm all for retelling. You know, you want to go back and pick apart the X-Men franchise theatrically.
Sure.
You know, you can.
Well, I read a really interesting thing on Reddit that was talking about the remixed elements, and I'm like, okay, well, Keyes is, I guess, dead. Miranda Keyes is alive, but Halsey's infected, and she's probably going to get miracle cured or whatever, because the plot does really kind of need Halsey.
Right, but we have Ackerson in the meantime.
Yeah, but that's not Halsey.
Right. But in the meantime, you know, this
is not the same thing, but okay.
I get.
So some fans were pointing out, like, well, if they were smart, maybe this isn't Halo Installation 04. Because technically in the games, we only went to 04, 2, and 7. And then if we're thinking about it, the prototype Halo and Halo Infinite. So there's like a whole ass like 4 other rings that we never went to. And if we're remixing elements, let's say this is Installation 6 or something, so things can be different from Installation, and there's a lore reason as to why, because we haven't seen those in the lore and the games. You know, and let the solution be to obviously stop firing the ring or maybe destroy the ring. Let the solution be something different than what it was in the games. Because I don't know if you caught in the shot where Chief was looking up in the sky and there was UNSC ships descending, and there was outline of one ship that looked a lot like the Pillar of Autumn. So, you know, you could do some different things, I think. And I was rewatching some Halo cutscenes to try to cheer myself up after the finale. And something that always really stood out to me as a really, really cool story idea that would make a good television show was, in the later games, the UNSC Infinity's mission was made as a full mobile battle station to find the other Halos and disable them, because they haven't fucking found them all. And if we somehow changed the trajectory, let's say randomly season 3 we wrap up with like the Battle for Earth or something weird, and another Halo or something like that, and we kind of get to kind of where Halo 2 ends up, and we finished Halo 1 and probably sprinkle some more books in there randomly like Onyx and stuff. Why not, I guess. But then we set up so that we're not at Halo 3's, or we're not going towards a Halo 3 type moment. We're going at we need to find the other rings type moment, and we get way afield from the games. So then, I don't know. I could see it going both ways. I could see that being a really terrible idea, and I could also see it being like maybe a better idea than.
I just want to see it be able to get to that point where, we either like or hate the ideas. I just again, I'm worried that it's going to get canceled for whatever reason, because
it's a very expensive show.
It's a very expensive show.
Yeah. And something I didn't know about season 2, and I feel like I should have heard it, but I didn't. I had heard that they had gone back to where they were in Uruguay or Paraguay or wherever the fuck they were. Some place over there in Europe. But my understanding was the back half of the season was actually filmed in Vancouver.
Okay.
Which, given the writer's strike and the stuff and all the stuff, makes sense, yeah. And the wars and all this stuff, be like, okay. And I think, I don't know.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of set piece heavy that wasn't that you couldn't have done not on location.
Well, and Vancouver makes a little more sense if you're doing Halo, given that's Pacific Northwest, and that's the aesthetic of Halo rings, except for deserts and some icy regions.
Right.
Yeah.
Which Canada has, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Vancouver has all of those things.
Right.
Insert countless sci-fi shows here. Battlestar Galactica comes to mind as making very good use of its different spaces. I don't know if that works out. I don't know the finances of if it's way better to shoot in Europe for a lot of this stuff than it is to just fucking move it to Vancouver and it be a little more closer to Hollywood and 343 and Microsoft and stuff. I don't know. We'll see, I suppose. But yeah, I do hope it continues. I personally was let down with the season 2 finale. I liked a lot of things about it, but as for many things as I liked about it, there's just as many things that there wasn't a bunch of crazy shit that other than the Halsey thing that was oh fuck me, I don't fucking hate this thing as a fan. It was really just more of, I expected more oomph, I guess. Sure. And I feel like I didn't get it. I know I'm in the minority because a lot of people were like, yeah, Arbiter fight, Chief fight, fucking finally got to the ring, fucking somehow McKee's still running around doing shit, whatever, Flood's out, that's crazy, and it's yeah.
I will say the way they animated the Flood was spot on.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good.
There was no doubt. I'm like, what is this going? Oh, yeah, that's the Flood. Yeah.
Well, and in retrospect on season 2, something that has been kind of sitting with me since I think about the 3rd episode, I feel like there's been less music in season 2 overall.
Okay.
And with arguably a better composer, Bear McCreary, and his underlings, the Shadows and Sparks group, I felt like there needed to be more music in the show as a whole. Because even if you compare it to season 1, and so like I said, I went back and I rewatched the pilot of season 1, and then I watched the finale just for comparison's sake. And even though obviously the music's not Halo-y, there is music, and it's good music. And at the very least in the finale, we did have the Halo theme, and a lot of people are like, well, the Halo theme probably should have fucking played when he was kicking Arbiter's ass. Like,
and it did for a brief second.
Did it though?
Yeah, right at the end, you got a little Gregorian chant, like for 5 notes.
But that's not enough. That's not enough if all the legal stuff has been squared away and everything's all happy dory with the composers and stuff again. Like, I don't.
And again, you wonder how much all the writers' strikes played into that. So
I can't even imagine with a show of this scale. I'm still on board. I'm in it for the long haul.
Yep.
Assuming there is a long haul.
It better be a long haul.
I just hope.
I would rather go. I would rather end up hating the show to its completion than not know.
I just hope that if we get a season 3, like I said, everybody is still on board, particularly the writers and the directors, so that we keep that continuity. Because I do think a lot of things have been proved, but there are some things that feel a bit worse than in season 2 than they were in season 1. And that's odd to say that it's so uneven about one of my favorite franchises ever. So.
All right. So, Godzilla Kong, tell me all about it.
I was very pleased. It is the shortest of the new MonsterVerse Godzilla films franchise, coming in just shy of 2 hours. But I think that's largely because for the first time, we went, you know what? Let's actually make Godzilla and Kong the stars of the film and kind of relegate the human stuff to be a lesser part of the runtime.
I mean,
Thank God.
Cinema overall, I'm kind of getting on the train where people are complaining about getting back to a tight 120.
I mean, I agree and I disagree with that notion. And it's really all down to the film story, pacing, and editing.
Sure, and I think part of the problem with film today is because it's going straight out of it's going from theatrical release right into streaming within months.
Yes.
My issue has always been, like, I saw Dances with Wolves in the theater and I went, I will never do that shit again. Right? I saw Lord of the Rings in the theaters and I left exhausted. So the idea of something running over, like the over 2 hour running time pushing into 3 hours as a theatrical production, like that gets a little trying. But I get where the industry's going, where it's like when I'm sitting on my couch and I can go, okay, I need to pause, take a piss, take a whatever, grab a snack. I can hit pause, come back.
Well, it's funny we're talking about runtimes because I've seen a lot of stuff. So, between Godzilla X Kong, New Empire, Kung Fu Panda 4, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire, Dune, and Dune 2, as far as movies, if I were to just go right through Godzilla vs. Kong, perfectly paced.
Right.
Excellent. No complaints. Kung Fu Panda 4, too short. Did not give enough time to let some things breathe.
What was the runtime on Kung Fu Panda 4?
Like an hour 10, hour 20, something like that.
Yeah, see, I think that's too short now.
It was short even for Kung Fu Panda standards.
Right.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, a little long, but I'm ultimately okay with that because of the type of film it is. I'll get into that later. Dune 2, I think, is expertly paced because I didn't know it was 3 hours going into the film.
Right.
And when I got out, I was like, man, that movie went by fast. So, I think it depends. It really just comes down to, what the audience will tolerate and what's good for the story. So as far as Godzilla,
that tight 120, I think is like the spot where you need to aim for, and if you go a little over, fine. Yeah,
I don't agree with that.
Kung Fu Panda and like your sub 90. Like I have episodes of regular TV now that are 60-ish.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it being short for an animated film is definitely one thing, but I feel like a 120 for like a Marvel movie doesn't work. Case in point, the Marvels.
Okay.
It just did not work with that runtime at all.
Sure.
And it's a mess.
Why not?
It's a fun mess, but it's too short.
So, but on that, like you look at Dune, like,
sure,
do a second one, do a third one. If you've got a story to tell,
sure, that is definitely an argument to be made for.
And that's the argument I will make.
Multi-movie, what's the word I'm looking for? Serialization.
Sure. Franchising of, sure.
But the average audience isn't going to go for that. I feel like Dune is an exception, not the rule.
Right.
Avengers Infinity War and Endgame are exceptions, not the rule.
But and again, that's a perfect example. You had a coherent story to tell, and you were constricted by a timeline. It's
too big.
Right?
We need 2 movies.
It would have been way too big, and you would have had to cut out way too much to make that one movie.
Yeah, I guess another counterpoint or additional thing to that would be the 7th and 8th Harry Potter movie covering one book. Because the last book is just too goddamn big. There's too much shit that happens. You can't condense that down into one film and it be any kind of coherent.
Right. But if you were to take the last Harry Potter and say, okay, we're going to go 3.5 hours, you would have rushed to get too much story in 3.5 hours.
Versus 2.5 hours. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, probably. So what else do you want to know about Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire?
I don't know anything about the whole kaiju verse, as I've heard.
Well, there's a lot to cover.
Yeah, that it's been called
5 movies and a TV series now. So there's a lot to cover.
I think at some point I need to sit down and catch them, because I think the first 2 entries and what was it?
Sure
Prometheus was one of them.
That's Aliens.
What was the one that was Godzilla that you never saw Godzilla?
The first one?
I don't know. It was named after Providence or...
I have no idea what you're fucking talking about right now.
I don't know.
Nate.
Okay. I could be wrong.
It sounds to me like you're seriously confusing Godzilla films with Alien films.
Okay. I could be.
Because that's Prometheus. Prometheus has an alien in it in like the last 5 minutes.
I could have sworn there was a Godzilla movie that didn't hinted that Godzilla was in it, but really he wasn't. Like, it was just a hint. Okay. Well,
I would say of the films, the first film, the 2014 reboot, has the least amount of Godzilla in it.
What was that one called?
Godzilla.
Okay.
That's why I call it Godzilla 2014. So in sequence, Nate, and you should be able to find all the movies on HBO Max. So it's Godzilla 2014. It's Godzilla, King of the Monsters, or King of All Monsters. I forget which exact title.
Right.
Then it's Kong, Skull Island.
Well, it's Godzilla, Kong, Skull Island, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Godzilla versus Kong, Godzilla X Kong, and then... So yeah, that was the new one. So there's five total.
Between Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla X Kong is Monarch Legacy of Monsters, the Apple TV Plus show.
Right.
Which is totally worthwhile, in my opinion. I was singing its praises last year for just being a good show. So yeah, there's a lot of ground to cover. It would be add another 30 minutes to the show if I were to even recap everything. But all you need to know is that it is sci-fi as fuck, wild. The campy beats land hilariously, and the action beats hit really hard. And the story, apart from a couple of head scratchers, and I'm very familiar with the thing. Like, I was leaning over, like my friend Jay was leaning over and was like, "So, didn't that character die in that one movie?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, and he's like, and they're just back. And I was like, "We're watching the same movie, man. I don't know."
Like, yep, yes, they are.
There's more than a few, as the Star Wars fandom will joke, and somehow Palpatine returned moments in this film for long time MonsterVerse people. But it ultimately doesn't matter because the film is fun. Man, the color palette in this film, which is something I wouldn't expect to be talking about in a Godzilla film, is fucking cracked, man.
Okay,
like
the new one.
The new one is wild in the color palette. And not just because, and you'll find out in the movie, Godzilla trades his blue atomic breath for some hot neon pink one.
Okay.
In this film.
It's a choice.
It makes, I thought it was odd in the trailers, and apparently there's precedence for this in some Godzilla movie called Godzilla 2000 back in Japan. It makes way more sense in the film as to why it's pink. And actually looks good in the full finished product. Whereas earlier when I was seeing the trailer for this, I was like, that's really odd that his awesome blue atomic breath is now neon pink. That is a choice, but it's way better executed in the context of the film. But yeah, no, there's just wild sci-fi ass shit in this film, and I loved every minute of it. I don't know what else to say. There are a lot of surprises I don't want to spoil. In terms of upping the ante, which seems somewhat difficult at this point after the previous film was, all right, Godzilla's thrown down with Kong. They definitely found a way to up the fucking ante in this film.
What was that? You went choppy for a sec.
Oh, I did. I said they definitely found a way to fucking up the ante in this film.
Yeah.
Which, 5 movies in a show might seem somewhat difficult because obviously Godzilla's still around. And it's like, well, obviously Godzilla's fucking kicked everybody's ass at this point. How do you raise the stakes for an immortal atomic breath breathing lizard?
Well, And I'm looking at the wiki on this, while cutting the budget by $75 million.
Honestly, I think it looks better than the previous film.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. Godzilla.
You know what that 70? This is what I'm saying.
Godzilla was 160 million. Kong Skull Island was 185 million. Mm-hmm. King of the Monsters was 170 to 200. Mm-hmm. Godzilla v Kong was 155 to 120 to 200 million. Mm-hmm. New Empire 135.
Yeah, and I can tell you exactly why. Because there are way, 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 way more scenes that are just full CGI monsters and no goddamn dumbass humans on a set that they had to build somewhere or put green screen and pay actors.
Sure.
So Yeah, it's great. The more power to it. The film looks great. The film looks really good. Like it is a good looking romp.
It was just one of those. Again, being the old person that I am, like I grew up on the original black and white bullcrap that was, B movie.
Me too, actually. Yeah.
Right.
I got into that stuff. I got introduced to the 90s Godzilla, or the 1999, 98, 97, the Matthew Broderick one.
No, we're talking about older than that.
No. I'm saying I was introduced to that, and then in the video store was like, oh, there's all these other Godzilla movies, and I'd pick them up on rental and watch them and stuff.
So you went back and watched the old.
I've watched a ton of the old ones.
The old, yeah.
I don't remember them particularly well because obviously, they're not
very memorable. Yeah.
Some of the goofy ones are perhaps more memorable when Godzilla's just like on the ground one frame and then the next he's straight up vertical and sliding sideways with a kick on wires.
Right. It's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers levels of.
And that's what I grew up with that. And Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is also Toho, I might add. So there's a child reason why that stuff resonates with me. A big old monsters stomping around, people in costumes with miniature sets of buildings. Yeah, fucking love that shit. Of course,
there was the one episode of the A-Team where Hannibal was in a Godzilla costume, smoking a cigar out his neck.
I don't think I saw that. I only saw A-Team in reruns with MASH, Full House, and there's something else with it.
Sure.
Murder, She Wrote. I don't know.
Knight Rider.
I don't think I ever saw Knight Rider.
You gotta go. You gotta go back and
I know what it is.
You gotta go back and watch Knight Rider.
I know about it's the Hoff and all that stuff. I know.
It's a great show. It's right up there with Magnum PI.
That's another one that I missed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of these properties.
Yeah.
So
I watched the new ones and I go, what did you do to my?
Yeah, I know there's a new one. They did a new Knight Rider too.
Yeah, that one was horrible. That was actually filmed at CSUN.
I don't know what that means. CSUN.
Cal State Northridge.
Okay. Fair enough.
So right around the corner from me.
A lot of movies to get through. Godzilla X Kong. I was very pleased walking out of the theater.
Okay. I think I might have to go and do the 5.
You should.
Just to see what the hype is about, because again, I was ruined by the originals, and it was again Rubber Suit, and I was like, eh.
You'll be in for an interesting time because tonally, the tone changes quite a lot through the film.
Sure.
The first film is super serious and like as realistic as it could be.
Right.
And then 2 ups the cheese.
To be fair, I think part of the problem I had with a lot of this was the CGI just wasn't there.
CGI is totally there on all of the films.
Well, I mean, yes and no. Like the bits that I saw, I'm just like, okay.
I think
I'm a big fan of practical myself.
I mean, you're not going to get a lot of practical in these films.
Right. And I think that's where I kind of was
the practical in these films is dumb to begin with, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of where I fell off, and I was just like, man, I just don't want to watch some CGI with it. And again, in the olden days, there was a lot of things to complain about with CGI, especially and you look at like in Jurassic Park and whatnot. It's like it looked visually stunning, and then you start watching the nuance, and you're talking about muscle texture and skin texture, and you're just like, no, that's just dumb.
I don't agree.
Fair enough. But I think that's kind of the thing that turned me off about a lot of the stuff. The Planet of the Apes, like the whole apes.
Well, and the new Planet of the Apes series started in 2011, and that first one was it's weird. The first movie was really good, but the CGI,
it was a great movie.
It was a good.
The CGI
that's what I'm saying.
was
it's
bad.
A good movie.
Yeah.
The CGI was not there yet. And it was better in the second film, but the second film was trash.
So
And I didn't even watch the third film.
I think I need to turn that off in my brain and just go, let me just watch this as a movie, suspend my disbelief, like turn off my uncanny valley filter, and go and watch them, because I think that's what stopped me from watching them.
Sure.
More than anything else. Not that I was like, I had anything against
I think
Godzilla in general.
For me, as far as CGI
other
goes,
than he pissed me off in SimCity.
The thing that really works for me in the CGI department is that Weta Digital does Godzilla. And they really, really spent the time to make him feel like visceral and like real in a way that hasn't been done with Godzilla prior.
Okay. Because I think that's been what's missing. Like,
yeah, I think you'll probably really like the first film. You might be turned off by the fact that Godzilla isn't in it too much. And it's kind of a pretty much strictly from the human's perspective kind of film. Like, oh shit, Godzilla's here. What do we do with that? Kind of thing. For me, the second film is actually was my favorite until this film. Because second film just kind of said fuck it with the humans, and there's a shit ton of monsters. Like there's an obscene amount of monsters in the second film, which is fantastic.
Critics wise, I heard was kind of overload.
No, the monster part's good. What's bad is there's just as many bullshitty humans in the second film, and it's like, what is going on? Why is 11 from Stranger Things in this film playing the same character she was in Stranger Things? Why do I give a shit about this person and this scientist? Who the fuck is that guy over there? Why do I care about any of these humans?
You just kind of pinged a thing in my head. It's almost kind of how I felt about the Transformers series. Right? Where you just get fatigued.
I don't disagree. And I actually really like those films. But I really like the Transformers part of the films. Like, I don't give a shit about the humans. Like, okay, fine. Mark Wahlberg says a funny line here or there. So does Shia LaBeouf. Megan Fox was hot back in the day. Like, I get it. But I'm there because I grew up with Optimus Prime and Megatron and these fuckers, Which is why I'm so fucking sad about the next Transformers movie that's coming out this fall, Transformers 1. That's a pure CGI movie, and they're doing the Fall of Cybertron thing. But fucking Chris Hemsworth is Optimus. And I'm like,
really?
Yeah. I'm like, no.
Did Welker pass away or something?
Welker's Megatron.
Oh, right.
It's fuck, I'm blanking.
Me too.
We know who we're talking about.
Yes.
The Optimus Prime. No, he's still alive.
Okay.
They're doing the star-studded thing. Scarlett Johansson's like RC or some shit.
Oh, so it's Marvel's Transformers.
Yeah,
cool.
even though it's all CGI.
Right.
And I'm like, this is a movie we've been asking for. Why the fuck can you not just give us the voices while they're still alive, please?
Sure.
Like, why do you do this to us? I get it. They're trying to sell the movie, and it's like, oh, well, if we have Scarlett Johansson and Chris Hemsworth, that sells movies.
Sure.
And I'm like, what sells movies is that your fucking title is Transformers, you fucking idiots.
Right. And
that's why Rise of the Beasts didn't suck too much last year.
On that same note, Chris Pratt did he did a pretty good Mario.
Oh, he did. I didn't have any problem with his Mario. We've talked about that before, though. Anyways.
And I think that's where that comes from. Like, there's like, we can put a voice, and as long as they do good enough.
Yeah.
I can see Helmsworth doing Optimus.
I gotta hear it first.
Right.
I gotta hear it first, because the thing is,
like, I can see it. I get why they cast like Helmsworth, okay.
I mean,
Like,
I'm always going to be okay with Scarlett Johansson.
I can see the red yarn on the ribbon, right? On the pins. Like, I can see where they arrived at Chris Helmsworth for Optimus.
And for all I got it, Peter Cullen. And for all I know, he does a spot-on Peter Cullen. Mm-hmm. Who knows? The guy is pretty talented.
Right.
I guess speaking of voice actors, Kung Fu Panda 4 is a mixed bag.
That's kind of what I've heard.
I love the Kung Fu Panda franchise. 4 has a really strangely undercooked villain. And it's weird because they like... I feel like there could have been some rejiggering of the plot, and it would have been like at least 2 times better than it is. It is.
I've heard it wasn't bad. It wasn't good.
I wouldn't say that. I would say that there's a lot to like, but there's also
not a lot to hate.
There's just stuff that's like missing.
Okay.
And you feel like it's missing. And not in like we like skipped forward and we cut scenes or something, but just like they weren't there to begin with.
Sure.
And you're like, should we have something else in this spot here between this scene and this scene? No? Okay. I guess the movie's moving on. Yeah, I know a lot of people were worried, myself included, about Awkwafina joining the cast because they're like, oh gosh,
she's so polarizing.
Is it going to be bad? Is it going to be good? She was wonderfully not Awkwafina in this one,
right?
Like she was just playing a role, and her character is actually pretty fully formed. Like her character is not the problem in the film.
Awkwafina not doing stand-up in a movie is a great actress. Like, I love her. Yeah. It's, again, like, go back into my day. Dennis Leary not doing stand-up in a movie is a great actor. You see him in...
Dennis Leary? I was fucking...
Right. You see him in Demolition Man?
Yeah.
And he's doing stand-up. And you just go...
Sure, because that's what he had come from at the time. He hadn't... done the I'm a comedian transition to acting thing that a lot of
but seeing him in a series roles, I forget the series he was in, but it was like, holy crap, that guy's
Fire
it was
Rain on Me, something.
Fireman, Remember Me or Forget Me or
the one about the fire truck.
And he was a damn good actor, and it's like he wasn't doing stand-up all the time.
I mean,
and I think like a lot of things that like Awkwafina, like when she gets into her role and it's suddenly she's doing her bit, her shtick.
Yeah.
Like that's where people get annoyed with it because her shtick's kind of annoying.
I don't think it's annoying. I think it's the same. Like that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is that it's not a like look at it this way. Like look at a Jim Carrey performance. In a comedy
or an Adam Sandler,
or it's going to be a particular type of comedy, but you also know it's going to be varied. That's one of the reasons I think why the Sonic the Hedgehog movies are successful, because it is Jim Carrey, but it is a big variance from what came before, because he's the fucking villain and he is villaining it up,
Right, and he never looks at you and goes, "Oh, alrighty then."
That's right. He doesn't do the things that you would expect. It's still undeniably Jim Carrey, but it's like it's like Robin Williams. It's the same kind of thing. They are funny. They're not being their bits that are funny.
Right, and then you get like Robin Williams, perfect example. You get 2 movies in particular: 1 Hour Photo.
Oh God, yeah.
Death to Smoochie.
I don't think I saw Death to Smoochie. I did see Final Cut. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
Dude, that is a fucking... That's dark. It's vaguely sci-fi. It's about he's a cutter of memories. And so there's like you take memories out of your brain and then you have them cut down into like a movie and then you give them back to your customer. Right. And then he's like cutting one and he's like finding like horrible shit in it. And it's like what he does with it's wild. It's a good one.
But like a lot of people look at me and go, what is it, Millennium Man or
Bicentennial Man?
Bicentennial Man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Super depressing movie.
Super depressing movie. But still, like you look at the Robin Williams and it's like while he did expand, he was still a bit of his stand-up. Sure. Right? Where, again, 1 hour photo. Fuck. That's dark. Like, what the?
You know what's also dark is Insomnia.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of that film?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
I have not.
You should.
Okay. Another Robin Williams?
Yes. Robin Williams is a serial killer with
after seeing 1 hour photo? Sure.
With Al Pacino is a detective cop that's been hunting this serial killer so long that he's got insomnia about it. Gotcha. And to add icing on the cake, because it's an older film, it's one of Christopher Nolan's films.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's a very good movie. Also, and maybe it's just because I've been to Alaska and I love Alaska. It's set in Alaska, and they use like the Alaskan fog there to just like perfect effect for the film. It also has a wonderful score too, by the way. The score is phenomenal.
But yeah, Awkwafina, like again, when you start getting comedians doing roles, they kind of like, again, when they get in their shtick, it's a shtick. You know, sure. Jack Black has always been a shtick, but he's always been an actor, not a comedian.
That's true. He's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. Right. Yeah, that's the difference.
Yes.
That is the difference. Obviously, no problem with Jack Black in this one. He's fantastic. There just feels like there's things missing from Kung Fu Panda 4 that maybe should have been there. Couldn't tell you.
Do you think they were affected by the runtime, or they just didn't have enough material to even fill a good?
It's hard to say.
Solid 120.
A large complaint from the fandom is that the Furious 5 is not in the film at all. Who is played by the all-star cast of Angelina Jolie, Jackie Chan, Lucy Liu, Seth Rogen, and David Cross, and they're not in the film at all. And I would guess, because it has been reported that the budget for this film was like nothing. So that's probably,
again, people of a certain area, men of a certain age would have called this a direct VHS.
Actually, that's a great thing, because the next thing I was going to say is the movie's not bad. And actually, the animation is probably the best in the series. But this is Return of Jafar, not Aladdin.
Right. That's direct to VHS.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be a good way of putting it. It's direct to VHS with the visuals of the next big budget film, because the visuals are fantastic, and the score
it's not a bad movie. It just never should have been in the theaters.
I don't like that's. See, the thing that's hard to say. Like, the thing about that is, again, the visuals better than what came before. Still score by Hans Zimmer. You've got Dustin Hoffman, you've got Jack Black, you've got Awkwafina.
And again, you had your major voice actors returning in Return to Jafar too.
Fucking Bryan Cranston's back in this one too, and actually has a really good significant amount of screen time and some maybe the funniest bits.
Screen time, voice time. Yeah,
you know what I mean. God damn it. Has some panda time on the film, like whatever. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I didn't love it.
To the audience at this point.
Okay, get out of here. The one thing that is really cool for a longtime fan is that they did have the return of Ian McShane as the first villain from the first film.
Okay.
He returns in this film in a different way to the plot that I won't spoil. And there's a really great payoff from the first film to this film with him and Poe. That is probably the most satisfying part of the film. But there you go. Moving on, me and the wife saw Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire.
You saw this in theaters already?
Mm-hmm. Saw it last week.
I'm so fucking jealous.
It is...
I've heard mixed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, it's less of a film? That's going to sound weird. And it's really more of a 2 hour, 2.5 hour, I don't remember the runtime. It's like a slice of life thing.
Right.
With the Ghostbusters. And honestly,
I heard it was like the general consensus I heard on this was it was a love letter to the Ghostbusters franchise.
100%.
Right.
100%. And not just because all living cast members are back and have a larger screen time than Afterlife. But like, yeah, it's interesting. Like returning to New York and like we're picking up with the new cast from Afterlife. Mm-hmm. They've been ghost busting in New York and they're just trying to make it go right while also having an expanding family dynamic. But it really does feel like I said, less of a movie. Like it's weird because
here's the word that everyone fucking hates hearing.
Sure.
It is such a fan service movie.
No. I actually feel it's less fan servicey than Afterlife, actually.
I didn't think Afterlife was fan servicey at all.
I thought it was very fan servicey. Come on, we're gonna reopen the same thing. We're gonna have the same villain from the fucking first film. Get the fuck out of here. We're gonna do the same fucking.
I mean, sure, but
the marshmallows. We're gonna do the same fucking. We're gonna do all the same things in a different way. Okay. And don't get me wrong, I loved it, but Afterlife, if we're calling this a new trilogy or whatever, was way more fan servicey than this one. And that's not saying that there isn't fan service. Like the fucking original mayor is back in this one. The
original EPA guy,
the original librarian is back in this one. But yeah,
isn't Janine back in this one too?
Yeah, she's back in the film throughout.
Is Rick Moranis in it?
No.
God damn it.
He is not.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah, it's like I keep saying, it's a slice of life thing. Like it's really odd because like the beginning part of the film, which is like a setup thing, and then the end part of the film are the only parts that feel like a big movie. And then everything in the middle is just like different bits of things happening. But all the bits are great. Like they're individually, like on their own, like really cool. Like there's...
Well, and that's how I felt about the original, the first Ghostbusters, right?
Okay.
Like you had your action bits and then you had your people doing their, like, Dan Aykroyd being a character, Egon being a character, Bill Murray being a fucking character.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, it's interesting. There's a plot with Finn Wolfhard's character where he's complaining about being a teenager and being able to drive the Ectomobile. And then they're like, fine, you can handle...
Ecto-1, come on.
Ectomobile, Ecto-1, whatever. And so they're like, fine, you can bust whatever ghosts in the attic on your own. You don't need us. And there's like a whole, like, throughout the film subplot of him trying to figure out what ghost it is and trying to trap it and stuff. And it's great and it's charming and it's lovely. Well, at the same time, there's God, I forget her name. the Spengler granddaughter, who's kind of the main lead.
Wasn't she in Stranger Things or something?
No, it was Finn Wolfhard. He's one of the. He's the. But yeah, he's one of the main dudes in Stranger Things.
The geeky girl. Yeah.
Yeah, the geeky girl. She's got a whole crazy, super adult, super dark subplot that I won't spoil. While Paul Rudd's character is like trying to move out of the, I was your teacher and I'm dating your mom and I kind of like want to be your new dad kind of zone thing.
Again, another actor that's getting kind of stuck in a rut.
I was like, man, he's gonna say it. I don't. Yeah. Like everybody's got their own things. Like Dan Aykroyd, he's running off with the podcast character, trying to unravel the mystery of a thing. Even again, another actor or another comedian turned actor, Kamal Nanjiani. He's got he's a new character in this film. He's really good. Patton Oswalt is a new character in this film. He's really good. Ernie Hudson's character has really cool stuff and adds a lot of interesting lore to the whole Ghostbusters as a whole, which is very interesting. Yeah. The way they expand that, obviously, probably for more films down the line. The secretary lady.
As long as it is,
secretary lady, I forget her name. You said it earlier.
Annie Potts.
Yeah, she's got cool stuff in the film. My one chief complaint, other than again, it feels less than a movie, less like a movie and more like a bunch of stuff that's happening. Could have used more Bill Murray. There's still more Bill Murray than Afterlife, but I like Bill Murray.
Yeah.
I know he's a terrible person in real life, but something about watching that asshole on screen just tickles me.
Zombieland, right?
Zombieland, Groundhog Day. What was the one with the tank and the army and he's fucking off for the whole time? Oh God!
I forget. Caddyshack.
Yeah, Caddyshack. Fucking Scrooged. You fucking list goes on and on and on with that guy.
Yeah, he's got chops.
Yeah. No, he's great, but could have used more of him. Personally, music's good. The new villain for all of 15 minutes that he's in the film is cool, pun intended. Yeah, it's a fun entry. It just, like I said, feels less like a movie and more like a bunch of really cool stuff that's happening.
Okay. I'll be happy when that one comes out on streaming.
Yeah, I will.
Or
say,
I might have to pirate it like I did the last Ghostbusters movie.
I mean, lame, but you do what you got to do. One thing that did catch my eye watching it in the theaters was I felt the special effects were way better in this film than Afterlife. Like the special effects were really, really popping in this film. Ghost, I know they did a kind of an old school mix of practical stuff
with Slimer
this time around. Yeah. Not just Slimer, like all the stuff.
Yeah, like Slimer is actually credited with a puppeteer, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff, and it feels a little more real in that sense. And then obviously we get to Dune 2, which, everybody under the sun has hailed as phenomenal, and I agree. They did it. They finished book 1. They had one huge change to the plot that in retrospect for time makes the most direct sense in comparison to the books and prior stuff. It's interesting because, you know, the first film is such a setup, and then this film is like all payoff.
Okay.
And that's kind of an interesting way to go into a film, is just like paying off everything that you've set up in a prior installment.
Especially when you have a third one in the mix.
Yeah, but the third... So the third one would be the second book.
Right.
I might add. So, and that complicates things. And I don't know how familiar you are with Dune as a book series, but they get pretty fucking weird the further they went on.
But again, I'm going to say the general consensus is this is the Return of the Jedi. Or sorry, the Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
Right. It's better than the first. It does a lot of movement, but it's going to need a Return of the Jedi to land it.
No.
Okay. That's, again,
because that's
what
not
I hear.
how the third book goes.
Well, I'm saying cinematically.
No. That's not how it goes.
It's going to need a third movie to land it, not necessarily Ewoks.
If they never have a third movie, it will be fine, as it's with these two installments. Cool. If they get a third movie, it will be interesting as fuck to see how they will do that as a film and make it on a film way bigger than part 2. Because from what I recall of book 2, it's a lot more political stuff than it is big, broad sci-fi stuff.
Sure. Okay.
If they ever get to Children of Dune, the third book, that's a whole other different story. And that I've already said before, the miniseries for that is fucking fire. But anyway, that's even way further down the line, and I doubt Dennis will be doing Dune movies until he dies. He'll probably get sick of it and want to move on to other stuff. But yeah, Dune Part 2, really, really fucking cool. Particularly,
I'll have to actually finish the first one, and then
you should. Yes, I would watch them back to back. 100%, because they do.
I think that's what I'm waiting for.
Hands.
I think I'm going to wait for Part 2 to come on streaming services, and then I'll just watch them back to back.
Yep. Yeah, we watched Part 1.
Prior to going to the theater,
the day before, and we're well served by that because they don't do any hand holding.
Right.
I mean, I felt fine because I'm pretty well versed with the lore and stuff, but Jessica wasn't, so she was pretty fine. She was glad she saw Part 1 before Part 2. And as a whole, 2 definitely retroactively makes 1 better, which is definitely
good. Okay.
Good. Yeah, it's very cool. Dune Part 2, definitely a big triumph of a sequel. Let alone the fact that they completed an adaptation of 1 book for this very difficult to adapt book. So yeah, Dune. And then to top off the stuff that I watched and probably close out the show,
not necessarily. While I was looking up Ghostbusters stuff, I was reminded by an advertisement on IMDb that I watched the new Roadhouse.
Oh, was that any good? I'm curious about it.
It was it was very entertaining. It had
not good.
It was. Did you enjoy the original Roadhouse?
I have vague memories of the original Roadhouse.
Okay.
So in my head I'm like, okay, I think this happens. I kind of remembered this.
Do you remember when Family Guy spoofed Roadhouse and he was just going around just kicking people and going Roadhouse?
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere in between a serious movie and that is where this one sits. Jake Gyllenhaal plays an ex-MMA fighter that is going in to clean up a town. Kind of the same premise of the first one. And that's where the similarities stop.
Okay.
Right? It's Gyllenhaal acts amazing.
Yep.
He worked out for the role. At some point in time, MMA fighter, what's his damn name? Conor McGregor shows up.
Okay.
And for his first foray into acting, he is exactly what you would expect a WWE star get in their first role in a movie to be. He's just campy and hammy. But yeah, from top to bottom, it's a fun damn movie. Like, good. I watched it. I thought it was better than.
I heard a lot of people say it was shit, so I was kind of waiting.
It is shit. Well, it is shit, but it's a fun shit. Like,
I mean, that's okay. I like fun shit.
Right? If you're expecting a serious movie out of Roadhouse, you're going to be sorely disappointed. If you want just to go in and have a good time and watch Jake Gyllenhaal get beat up, stabbed, and then kick other people's ass, and Conor McGregor's ass profusely throughout the entire movie. It's a fun show.
Okay. Sounds good. That's
I recommend.
That's streaming with Prime membership, right?
That is on Prime, yeah.
Okay, sweet. I will probably maybe check it out tomorrow night with the wife.
Yeah, do it.
And then
she'll have fun with it.
And then finally, last week I started and then ended up having to binge Three Body Problem on Netflix.
I've heard nothing but good things about this, and I was excited to hear your take on this.
So I think I already threw this out to you. This is probably the closest we're going to get to a Peripheral-esque show.
Oh, don't tell me that.
It has some similarities with Peripheral.
Okay.
Some, like
with the creative crew, or just the storyline?
The storyline.
Okay.
I said some. It's not the whole thing. So I went into this. I saw the trailer and I knew about the books because the books are very heralded as a very exciting science fiction series, which I unfortunately never got around to reading. But I'd heard that they'd like quote unquote broke new ground as a sci-fi thing.
I just did an IMDb. There was a 2016 and a 2004. The Three Body Problem
in China. It's a Chinese book.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's been adaptations already. This is the English.
Right. There's a Three Body in 2003. A Three Body Problem. Yeah. Three Body in 2022. 2016 with Miguel Carvalhais and Pedro Tudela.
Yeah, I think there's been a Chinese adaptation and a Spanish adaptation.
Okay.
So the first episode is weird because it's like an hour and 40 minutes long. It's like a movie.
Okay.
Yeah. This is one of those. And then all the other episodes are like a regular hour. We get 8 episodes.
It's an 8-episode season?
It is an 8-episode season. I'm told that they adapt the first book and a half out of 4 books. This is from the Game of Thrones showrunners. So Damien D.B. Wise and those folks.
Yeah, David Benioff, D.B. Wise, Alexander Wu.
Yeah. The first episode I watched because I didn't know terribly too much about it. Going into it, I knew it had something to do with aliens, and that's about all I knew. Going into it, the first episode is really long and really weird, It's beautifully shot, but by the end of it, I was like, I don't know what any of this has to do with fucking anything, and I don't know if this is a good show. But I was still curious. I was still intrigued. So I popped in episode 2, and then by the end of it, I was like, nope, I'm in. This show is awesome. Let's fucking go.
I'm just looking over the cast list. I see it. There's a lot of
is cool.
Asian cast, so they're leaning on that adaptation from the original.
Oh.
Okay.
I have no idea. The show largely takes place in England with English people.
Okay.
I don't know. So Three Body Problem is an excellent watch if you're a big sci-fi fan. It is a thinking man's sci-fi show. It is not
a la Peripheral.
A la Peripheral. Yeah. It is not an action-heavy show at all. So if you're looking for cool sci-fi battles, this ain't it. This ain't it.
Again, a la Westworld, a la Peripheral.
Yes, it doesn't have those like Westworld and Peripheral does, but It does have all the thinking man bits and stuff and introspection and thought and spookiness and intrigue and unraveling of the onion, as it were. What I'd say is episodes 1 through 6 are amazing and tell a complete story, and I would have stopped the season at the end of episode 6.
Fair enough.
Now, knowing this is the Game of Thrones people, and if we all remember the last 4 seasons of the original Game of Thrones,
yes, we do.
A couple episodes before the finale, we have our big ass cool fucking episode, and then the last 2 episodes are kind of
Yeah, they kind of screw the pooch.
Yeah. It's the same fucking thing. Three Body Problem. And there's nothing wrong with the last 2 episodes. It just feels like they're the next 2 episodes of the following season.
Right.
And then we're done abruptly. So that would be my complaint of the series, is that it really just, it leaves you in an awkward position of wanting more, but also being let down.
Fair enough.
But yeah, the first 6 episodes leading up to the peak of episode 6, really, really good. Really, really good. I'm definitely intrigued. I hope this show doesn't get canceled. I hope we get to see it completed, because I would like to see it on screen. I hope that the other books, because there's 4 books, and in my head, I'm like, I don't even know where the story's gonna go necessarily, and that's something I usually have a pretty good eye for. And I'm just like, well, I guess they could do this, but I don't really know. So, but there's 4 books, so obviously a lot more shit happens. So I don't know. But yeah, it was a good time. I don't usually binge shows, so that should already be a good sign. That it, like I said, it hooked me by episode 2, and I was like, oh, I'm in. Go more. Tell me more. And I stayed up late watching it and shit, and I think I had it finished. I started it Friday and I had it done by Sunday morning.
Nice.
It was.
Yeah, it's kind of how I feel about my Cobra Kai. It comes out.
I still need to watch that show. I haven't given it a go. I know it's gonna. Isn't it ending soon?
It's done. Yeah, the last season is eventually going to come out. No, there's one more season coming out, and they're done.
Well, maybe I'll just wait till it's all done, and then I can just.
It might be a good idea.
Power through it.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So yeah, 3-body problem. I do recommend, and I would caution people about the final 2 episodes being utterly underwhelming.
Sure.
So that's what I would say about the show. And then last bit I had here, I actually read this today. So fans of Gen V, the spinoff of The Boys, Chance Perdomo, who's one of the main characters in the show, fucking died in a motorcycle.
Saw this. I didn't know who that was.
In a motorcycle crash. My understanding is they're halfway through filming. They have halted production of the show because obviously they're going to have to either recast or restructure the whole fucking season.
Sure.
Yeah, I died at 27, motorcycle crash. My understanding from limited data is no other people were involved or no other people were hurt in the accident. But the dude's dead. And it sucks because he was one of the more likable characters on the show, too.
As a writer myself, there's an old adage going, that goes with the writer community that there are 2 types of writers. Ones that have gone down and ones that will. So,
okay.
And considering he was out here in LA,
yeah,
like, people suck.
Yeah.
The reason I sold my bikes when I, found out my wife was pregnant, I was like, we're done with motorcycles.
Sure.
So, like, condolences. And, like, I'm looking at pictures of them. I'm like, they could probably recast. I don't know about his acting chops. I haven't watched the show.
He's a pretty good actor.
Yeah, but, visually, you could get away with. He wasn't so unique.
Sure, I guess, if you want to say that, sure. Anyways.
If we can go from Cuba Gooding Jr. to, what's his name for, the War Machine?
Don Cheadle?
Yeah.
The superior actor?
The superior actor. But, look nothing like Cuba Gooding Jr., which, he's got a whole nother, he's been tied into some whole shenanigans with the whole,
sure.
P. Diddy case.
Oh, I didn't know about that, but okay.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
Okay,
it's funky.
Fair enough.
Nefarious, yeah.
Well, and then on that sour note, should we fucking wrap this up?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
Let's get to some hell diving.
I'm Tim. He's Nate. Get forked.
I'm Nate. He's Tim.
Wait, did I say that backwards?
No, you didn't. I was fucking with you.
Oh,
get forked.
Fuck's sake.
For fork's sake.
There you go.
Thank you for listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast. You can find our podcast at www.dynamicworksproductions.com. Feel free to email us at dynamicworks@mac.com.
This is Dominic Armato, the voice of Guybrush Threepwood, and you're listening to a Dynamic Works production podcast.
The Citadel, Arrival, is the first installment in a series of epic science fiction short stories reminiscent of the Pulp Fiction style. It's a fast-paced story that will take you through twists and turns that you will not expect, until they are thrust upon you with all the force, excitement, and chaos of a plasma cannon blast. The story follows Katarl, a nobody cog in the working wheels of a futuristic society run completely by Megacorp, a corporation that carefully runs and manages the lives of the people living under its sphere of power. On one of Katarl's few and far between days off from work, an outing he had hoped would be fun and relaxing turns into an explosive adventure that drags him kicking and screaming into situations and challenges that will make him question every aspect of his life. Watch this colorful tapestry unfurl as Kataro and his newfound allies find their way through this classic, yet oddly surprising tale of good and evil, where nothing is quite what it appears to be. That's The Citadel, Arrival by author Tim K.A. Trotter, available right now on Amazon Kindle Store and iTunes iBookstore for only $2.99.
All right, I am now recording.
I'm not, so chill.
Oh, I know. I'm catching the outtakes, you know.
Why are these things?
Look at those sexy legs. Tim's been working out. He has not missed leg day.
Too many things open.
He didn't hear a thing I said.
Nope, I'm sure it was lovely.
It will. You'll catch it on outtakes.
Okay.
No, I was commenting on your muscular calves. I said you have not missed leg day.
Okay. No, they always look that way. I've been told that I just have
Calfy
Actually.
calves, yeah. You're highly caffeinated.
Okay. That's going.
By comparison, I'm decaf.
That's there. Remind me before we end to save the goddamn audio hijack profile.
Okay. Before we
I
end,
have to keep.
save the audio hijack profile.
Yeah, remind me at the end of the show
See, there we go.
when I.
That would be the appropriate statement. Why is... Okay. Okay. Let's put this... your fridge is kicked on.
I literally just turned it off. Mini fridge? What are you doing?
And I get to see those wonderful calves again. Apparently green was the choice of color for today's show. Well, that was a little weird robotic-y sound.
What? Okay.
Sorry. When you went, it had like a robotic... It's fine now, but it had like a robotic undertone that was like underneath it. It was definitely audio. It wasn't like some guttural noise coming from your stomach.
It also could be Skype.
It also could be Skype. You'll hear it on the playback. You'll be like, oh, that's what he was talking about.
Okay, I'm going to test my recording on my end. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Testing.
This
Testing.
Is me.
1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Why is your volume suddenly like 30 decibels louder when I hit record? That doesn't make
is this
any
better?
sense. No.
Okay.
That's got to be on my end. Let me just turn you down, I guess. Speak now.
Or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, speak now, forever hold your peace. Exactly. Do that.
I just did.
Okay.
Oh, do you
Yeah,
need me
I know.
to? Okay. Do you need me to give you a solid sample of me being loud or me being quiet?
No. I'm gonna take a look at what we have right now.
Okay.
Good. I don't have the echo on my track.
Yay.
You are bleeding through the mic, though. Oh, that's because you're loud, of course. And then I turned you down.
Oh, I was bleeding through your mic? Out of the back of your ears or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah, that's what happened last episode, too.
Oh, that explains it. Yeah, there was a lot of double talk coming from the three of us on my end. So it goes.
Fuck. Why is it doing that?
I don't know.
Okay, so I solved this problem every podcast, last 3 podcasts, where I'm getting myself on left and right tracks.
Oh.
And not getting you.
I thought that was something you did in post, but okay.
No, it is not a post thing.
Gotcha.
It's a pre-production / during production thing. What did I do?
I don't know.
Application. Output device. Channels. Copy left. I changed this to right. I think I changed one of these, then I changed this one to copy left. Let's try that one. Testing for me, 1, 2, 3. Testing for me, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Nate, say stuff now.
And testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Say something.
Okay. Okay, well, waveforms look different. That's good. Promising.
What are you promising, though?
There we go.
Oh, good.
I don't know why. Okay.
I don't either.
So that's hypothetically fixed. So then
for now.
How do I...
Until next episode.
But I'm just thinking I should just fucking save it now rather than at the end of the show. How do I save this fucking session so I don't have to redo these fucking things every time? Session. Export session, probably? Yes, export session. So we're gonna say Yeti X plus Skype 2024. I'm gonna save it in Audio Hijack on this thing. Which put it where? Where did it put it? Put it somewhere. Okay, there we go. Audio Hijack folder. Oh shit! There's about 9 gigs worth of recordings that somehow didn't get dumped out of this folder. Okay, let me fix that. Glad I looked. Delito Bursto. I'm just gonna kill this old one. Now, if I do this one, yeah, that's the original. Okay, so we'll say Video G, classic audio. And then I'm going to go close this and take this. And then shit. Did I turn off that hard drive before it finished copying? Are you kidding me? Turning on a hard drive. Whoopsie daisy.
What's that?
I said I turned off one of my loud hard drives before I had finished copying a file that I needed it to make this clean. I had opened the file, so it was only in RAM, not on the Mac.
Oh.
Yes.
Is that going to be a problem, or?
No, because I stopped on this end. I saved the fixes. That's saved to the hard drive. I just need this other one, so then nothing's deleted. So then I'll have a profile for original Skype audio. Should I ever need to go back to the classic Yeti? I'll have the revamped one that works with the Focusrite and the other mic. And then I'll have the fixed one that we will move forward with. So then if I need to switch in the future, there's not, oh, well, let me move this around and this and click this and see if this works and do all this fucking bullshit every single fucking time.
You say that. Somehow I have a feeling.
Listen.
I appreciate the efforts you're making towards not having to do that every time.
Just, I don't know. Have a little faith, bro.
I've been doing this with you for way too long.
Okay, but apart from basically since last fall, have I really had that many issues?
No, that is true.
Yeah. I've had an uncharacteristic amount of issues.
Yes.
In so many years. Okay, so when I open this one, okay, good. That's the old one that's mislaid. Okay, good. So now, if I change this to Scarlet XLR mic profile, and then we copy this to the desktop, and then we quit this, and then that came off the hard drive successfully. So then I just put this onto this one, that went there successfully, and then I'll do this one here. Then I can close these drives again. All right. This goes down and turn this off. That's there. And we go and open this.
Oh.
That's all clean. Now, that should be correct, but I'm just going to do a quick little test. Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3. This is Tim testing his shit, and this is Nate testing his shit.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Okay, let me go. Okay, got me. Okay, cool. And then I'm actually going to do one more test because I want to see if I can't get you a little lower so I get less bleed from you. So I'm going to move my mic back some more. Okay. This is Tim testing 1 2 3 1 2 3, talking a bit louder. And then Nate can do his testing for bleed.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Saucy. Okay.
Am I still bleeding?
I'll find out in a second. I can hear it in the raw, but the logic will kill it.
Right.
So I think
that'll hit the floor.
I
Cool.
think here. So what is this? A switch case's distance is where I need to sit.
Sure.
With the mic all the way back is basically what needs to happen.
Or you need to get a pair of closed back headphones or something.
Are these not closed?
Well, these aren't.
Well, yeah, but I know you got your little fucking thingy that pops off.
Right. It doesn't mean that you don't have an air gap.
Yeah, I know I need new foam pads.
Yeah.
But I'm extra poor right now, so you know.
I get that.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about it. All right.
No, we probably won't.
Oh, we won't?
No, I mean, it's up to you. I don't care.
Okay. All right, I am rolling. Oh, let me.
Yeah, but we're not in Skype.
I realized I did not roll in Skype. I'm rolling in Skype.
There we
Chat
go.
is open.
Yes, I agree to the terms of service. Okay.
Uh-huh.
2 of 3 in the call. Who's still in the room that shouldn't be?
AI.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, AI. I'm glad you're not in the call.
It counts as a bot.
I mean,
it's been that way since like last summer, actually.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Phone is muted.
Flux capacitor is fluxing.
Watch is muted. Okay. Let's do a fucking show.
And in 3,
3,
2,
2,
1.
1.
Cut in.
Cut in.